And we are live. Welcome back to the Grid Draft Show. It's a fun time, man. It's been far too long since I've been in here with Mike
Yeah,
Guido. Really even done shows. I've been so dang busy, but it's no bigger joy than to get on here with my boy Mike Guido, talk some draft, talk some football. I mean, we're in the same dynasty league, so we get to talk a little bit here and there as far as like actual football, man. This is gonna be fun
yeah.
tonight. Full first round mock draft. I look a little different since the last time you guys saw me. I got the big beard on. I haven't taken it off. I think I have to get out a razor to take it off. But anyways, Mike, how are you doing tonight, man?
Yeah, you're looking like you need a weed whacker right there, E.
Something.
It's pretty grown. Dude, it's good to be back here, man. It certainly has been too long. And yeah, listen, for this upcoming draft, it's going to be a very interesting first round, I think, at the very least.
Mhm.
Presumably one of the bit more trade heavy. I mean, it seems like we hear that every year, but this year I actually kind of believe it.
Ooh.
One of the more trade heavy first rounds that we've seen in a
Are we
while.
gonna try
But
to be doing some trades in our mock draft here?
if you want to, I haven't set
Okay,
any ground
we'll
rules
we'll
here. So
see.
if you want
Okay,
to,
yeah,
go
yeah, yeah.
ahead.
Ground rules, yeah. Let's check who's in here. My boy Jeff Hollis popping in. Evening, gentlemen. Jeff, it is always a pleasure to see you in here, chatting it up, chopping it up with us. We're gonna do a full first round mock draft tonight, so it should be fun. My team, Mike's team, two first rounders. So we'll see. Maybe we trade up and get somebody that we really, really want, or
Yeah,
stick and pick. Who knows?
there you
Um,
go.
a lot of teams have two first round picks this year. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot. How many is it? Um,
The
maybe
Cowboys do, the
4,
Chiefs do, the Browns do, the
2,
Jets
yep,
do. So there's plenty. There's
4.
plenty
Yeah,
of
so
teams that
at
are out
least
there.
4.
Yeah.
It should be a fun time. And with that being said, let's go
Mhm.
ahead and pop in here over to the mock draft simulator. We are using the PFSN. PFSN. Yes. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought I read it wrong. It's so anyways, regardless of that, first round, here we go. The Raiders, I think everybody knows where they're going. They
Yeah.
need the QB there. Okay, first, sorry. Before I jump straight into it, Mike, I'm going to be picking, and then you're going to be picking, or you're going to be picking, and then I'll be going picking. Are you
So
doing the odds, evens? What are you kind of planning right here?
so your boy's in the zone. So I was coming into this planning on giving you the Cowboy picks, which are both even. So I was prepared to
Okay,
take the
okay.
odds. So if that's the way you want to roll with it, then that's fine. But listen, if we're doing trades, that might not matter. So
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm interested to see what chat thinks about doing some trades and stuff like that. The Sports 78 digging the beard look, brother. Thank you so much. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been working on it a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, you got some
I
like
think
you you boxed it in over there too. Like you got a little shape
yeah,
to it. I like it.
you know, I think this is like 5-ish months of growth, so not the longest beard I've had by any means. I've actually had a yeared, is what you call it when you grow your beard out for a
Wow.
year. But it's fun kind of just I feel like it's just a ritual now where like if I'm about to have a baby, I just start growing out my beard. I don't know what it is,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
anyways, enough of me. Travis Frederick vibes says Sports
I
78.
love that.
Jeff think we could see some interesting trades. Jeff Hollis. Hey man, Travis Frederick, he's a dog. He's one of my favorite guys. Cut short from the Guillain-Barré syndrome. I don't even know if I say that right, but
Yeah.
anyways, listen, Mike, I'm fine with you taking evens if you want and you want to draft for the Cowboys, or I'm fine taking it. Doesn't matter to me. But we could just go down and we can kind of converse with both picks. Doesn't matter. Um,
Listen, let's do it. Let's do it.
okay. Fernando Mendoza
Yeah.
seems like the obvious 101 pick here. The Raiders desperately need quarterback help. And I know they went out and made that trade for Kirk Cousins, but does that really shift this idea of where they want to go and trajectory for the future and their plans. They got Ashton Genty last year, and he sorely needed the passing game to help him
Yeah.
pop off. I mean, he was getting hit in the backfield far too easily because that identity of the Raiders offense was just basically him. Like, give him the rock or throw it to Brock Bowers, and that's kind of what it was. If they have a
Yeah.
legitimate quarterback that can throw with timing, can throw with accuracy, has leadership qualities. I mean, if I didn't just describe Fernando Mendoza to a T right there, I don't know who else would it be. And
Yeah.
truthfully, he's really the only quarterback that could go this high. Obviously, we'll probably talk a little bit
Yeah.
about Simpson later in this draft, but
Mhm.
I mean, he seems like the guy. Heisman winner,
Yeah.
national championship. Talk
Yeah.
about him.
Yeah. Fernando Mendoza, I think, is clearly and it honestly it's barely even worth talking about just because it's been established for so long that Mendoza is going to be the top pick. Just like we always complain about on draft night, we all know who the number one pick is going to be. They're going to run down the
Mhm,
clock
mhm.
the whole way through. We're going to have to wait 15 minutes before the draft actually starts after the first pick. Um, but listen, as far as like the makeup of a quarterback, Fernando Mendoza has all that, right? 6'5, 236 pounds. His arm covers the whole field. He isn't a like super tremendous athlete, but he is so tough. It's
Yeah, he's
just
a sneaky kind
honestly,
of athlete.
he right, exactly. But he's not, a super primary runner. Like he's not going to have Josh Allen weapon legs, but
No, no.
the
And
escapability
he
is
doesn't
there
have
with
the
him.
arm talent of like a guy like that, but he
No, no, no,
does have a
no.
decent amount of pocket awareness, a good enough arm. Accuracy is on par with
Yeah,
some of the best that I've seen coming out of the college
yeah.
game for a
He
while
has
now.
like Joe Burrow. He has like Joe Burrow level accuracy.
Mhm.
And that's really, I think, his biggest redeeming quality physically. But I
Yeah.
think as far as just the thing that draws so many people to Fernando Mendoza is his mental makeup, right? He's
Mhm.
just such a tough kid. What he was able to do at Indiana, taking them from a bottom feeding program to a national championship program. Um, Listen, that was really on Fernando Mendoza's back. So listen, it is. He's the kind of guy that a franchise can just bet on, right? Like if they need somebody that can turn it around, right the ship, he's the
Mhm.
kind of kid that's worthy of that discussion. I think it's obvious that Fernando Mendoza is the top guy there.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go ahead and lock in Mendoza to the
Mhm.
Las Vegas Raiders. And next up, I think we're just gonna
Yeah, it's
converse
good
and
job.
we're gonna make these picks together. Sounds like the best thing to do. The
Yeah.
Jets, the New York
Mhm.
Jets, Barry Grant Jr.'s Jets. What are we doing with this
Yeah.
pick? Now I know you sent me your mock draft, so I
Yeah.
know who you would pick in this
Yeah.
position. I
Yeah.
actually would go with the consensus right here, and I would say David Bailey for one reason,
Yeah.
and the reason is because the Jets do exactly opposite of what I think that they should do. And what I mean is, I think they should pick Reese because he can play
Mhm.
as a linebacker off ball, really, really good, sporadically in the edge. I don't know that I would necessarily play Reese as a full time edge, but he gives you that chess piece on your defense. He fits with Aaron Glenn's system so well that I think it's like everything's pointing to Reese, and for that reason, I think that they would pick David Bailey, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So at least in the recent um the recent talks, Arvell Reese, I think, has been kind of like for the longest time it's been Arvell Reese until it isn't. But I mean, David Bailey has really kind of turned the corner as far as the rumors are concerned. And now I think the rumor mill is sort of leaning towards David Bailey. Um,
Mm,
I think Arvell Reese is the better player. I think he's a more versatile player. Um,
I agree.
he's very Micah Parsons ish. Like he does have a lot of athletic traits that are fantastic. He's bigger than Micah Parsons was. but I think I agree with you in the sense that I don't know that I can play Arvell Reese, you know, 3, 4 downs on the defensive line, right? And I like he's a very scheme specific edge player where like if he's running as a 3, 4 outside linebacker, I think
Mhm.
it suits him better, right? Rather than a 4, 3 defensive end. I don't think he is a full-time defensive lineman. But if you can stand him up, right, get him out of a 3-point stance and get him again working either, just as like a heat seeker towards the football no matter what, or somebody that can spy a little bit, somebody that can drop back in coverage, that you use those tools, those physical tools that Arvell Reese
Yeah.
has. I think that's where he's going to find the most success. So again, for me, I think Arvell Reese for me is arguably the best player in the draft. Like I think as
Mm,
far as like physical tools and everything, like I think Arvell Reese is almost as good as they come. And I think, depending on positional need, like Jeremiah Love is certainly up there. Caleb Downs is certainly up there as far as
yeah,
like
those are
guys I
my
think
1 and 2,
that
so
think in that high of regard. But I think with the like perceived positional importance, I think Arvell Reese is, again, with everything combined, he's the guy that I would bank on. So if it's me picking for the Jets, I think I would take Arvell Reese. But the more and more time goes on, I like David Bailey
uh-huh.
is creeping up there. So
Yeah, it's difficult because Reese's best qualities, in my opinion, is his versatility and his ability to be sideline to sideline. He can drop back in coverage. When you set him as a full-time edge with the
mhm,
shorter arms, you're
right,
actually taking away some of his specialness. And so that's why I'm like, are they gonna actually use him to the full degree that he should be?
right,
If they are, great, take Reese. If not, go with David. He's a proven commodity. 14 or something sacks last year,
yeah, right,
19 tackles for loss, something along those lines. Like he's an explosive player within his own right.
mhm,
He has produced very well at Texas Tech. And I think that the thing with Bailey is a lot of people like that Swiss Army knife kind of a guy like a Reese, like
yeah,
a Sony Styles, but with a straight up monster at edge, 250, 6'4", and he tested really well too. I mean, he's no, slouch of an
yeah,
athlete either.
right,
Um, I think that he's kinda cut from the same cloth of those older edges that was prototypical, 10 years ago, the
mhm,
straight just pursuit hunters of quarterbacks,
right,
and he's proven that he can do that. I think you can't go wrong with either of these guys personally. Um, I like Reese better just because of that how the NFL has, evolved
yeah.
over time, and
I
the
I think
more versatility you have, it's a better thing, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think the closer we get to draft day, I think the pendulum is probably going to swing back to Arvell Reese. Like I
Mm,
just think
okay.
as far as like his versatility, how special he is as an athlete, um, the way that Aaron Glenn can use him on the defensive side of the football, I think is just going to be too much to pass up on. Because David Bailey, as great as David Bailey is, David Bailey is a very like cookie cutter, set the edge kind of player. Like he's not somebody that you can really drop back. He's not somebody that gives you anything other than go get the quarterback. And he's really, really good at it. Um,
Yeah, and some of the limitations I had on Bailey is just not the bendiest guy. Could
no,
struggle against those power run schemes as well, just not having the ability to truly anchor on the edge. Um, it's interesting. Oh, and Sports 78, yeah, interesting how the Jets canceled Bailey's private workout. So with
yeah,
that being said, maybe they just have fallen completely in love with Reese, and their team needs are absolutely edge, linebacker, and quarterback. Those are their biggest needs. Now we'll see later on in the draft. I think they're probably going to target a wide receiver,
I
but
agree.
if you can nail two of those positions
Yeah,
with one player, why would you not? So
yeah.
let's go ahead and go with Reese here.
I think Reese is the
Um,
guy.
in my mock draft, I had David Bailey, but we're going to go with Reese.
Yeah.
and that switches up because I was gonna have Reese go into the Cardinals. So, um, what do the Cardinals do? They also
Yeah.
need an edge rusher, and David Bailey's staring at them as well. Do they go offensive tackle to try to, bolster that offensive line, build that up for the future? Where are they going?
Yeah, I mean, so in my mind, what the Jets do at 2 kind of um impacts what the Cardinals do at 3, because I think if the Jets take Bailey, then the Cardinals would probably take Reese. I think if, and let's just say, for example, that there's no trade, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the number 3 pick is going to be tough to get to, no matter what, right? Like, even if the Saints at 8 want to get up to number 3, they're probably giving up a
Mhm.
1 next year to get there, right? Like, that's
Mhm.
just such a premium asset.
Well, do you feel
So
like the drop off between Bailey and then, like, a Bane is that big? I
no,
personally,
well,
you don't
in
think
my
it I think it
mind,
is.
I don't. See, and here's the thing, like, in my mind, like, I think David Bailey, here's the way I'll phrase it.
Mhm.
I am somebody who is particularly high on Ruben Bain. Like, I think
Mm.
Ruben Bain is a superstar pass rusher. So I think
Does
as a
short arms don't
pure,
bother you though, Mike?
no, they don't. They don't. Um,
Okay, okay.
and I think part of the reason why they don't bother me is because of the success that Bain had at Miami with the short arms already,
He's a
right?
bulldog, dude. He
He's
really is.
he's such a physical player, and the other part of it is that Ruben Bain was getting so much attention at Miami that it opened up the door for Akeem Messidor to get himself back into the draft
Mhm.
conversation as well. So, like, I am somebody
Possible
that
first
thinks that
rounder.
David Bailey, like I said, I'll phrase it like this. I would say that David Bailey is a slightly better prospect than Ruben Bain. Like, I would say he's slightly better than Ruben Bain. And and
Mm.
and again, like, I am somebody that is, and I know that that's some sort of an outlier opinion, but I,
You just really
I
like
am
it's
some,
less about you not liking Bailey, and it's more
no,
about you liking
I'm
Bane.
very, very high on Ruben Bain. I think
Okay.
he is a very, very good player. Um, and I was like really hard pressed to like, when I was ranking guys, I was really
Mhm.
hard pressed not to have Ruben Bain over David Bailey. Like, that's how
Really? Wow.
highly I think of Ruben Bain. And I know, listen, and I get that that's like sort of the outlier there, but um, what I think is the case here is that if the Jets take Bailey, I think the Cardinals probably take Reese. If the Jets take Reese, I don't envision in my mind that the Cardinals take Bailey. I think the Cardinals,
Mm.
again, without a trade, might take Malagnoa. Now, I think
Okay.
that's because right now I think that's the Cardinals' biggest need, whether they like it or not. They need an offensive
But
lineman. Um,
here's my problem. Do you actually think that any of these offensive tackles don't have their deficiencies? Like any of them are super, super clean, like some of the guys we've seen in these
no, I
past
don't.
drafts. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't. I don't think
Yeah.
that we have a bona fide superstar tackle in this draft. Now, again, that's not to say that I don't think Francis Magnoa is worth going in the top 10. Listen, I think very highly of Malagnoa. I think very highly of Spencer Fano. I think Spencer Fano is probably a guard in the NFL, but um, like, I like Caleb Lomu more than most people. Also, I think he's a really solid exterior offensive lineman. He will play tackle in the NFL. Excuse me, but Malagnoa is definitely the best offensive lineman in the draft. Um, and if the
Okay.
Cardinals are going to, I think the Cardinals, in their best case scenario, would prefer to trade down and take an offensive lineman. Um, and the thing is that they also are in need of a quarterback, right? They're obviously not going to take Ty Simpson this
Mhm.
high, but is it worth it for them to try to trade down, recoup some picks so they can
Then get
trade
back up at
back
the
up
end.
into the
Mm,
first if they
mm.
like Simpson, trade back up into the end of the first, get Simpson and get him a fifth year option? right? Like it's those sort of things that I think they have to think about. But if I'm making a pick here for the Cardinals, I'm taking Francis Malignagua. I am taking the best offensive lineman available. Um,
Mm, okay.
just because I think it's that pressing of a need for them. I think David Bailey doesn't impact winning enough for them at their current state until they fix that offensive line. That's for
Okay,
me.
I like what you're saying. Let's say that we rocked with a trade scenario.
Uh-huh.
Now, here's the deal. I think the Tennessee Titans, based on the stuff that I've been hearing, are pretty heavily in with Jeremiah Love. They really like him. Now,
Mhm.
will they actually take him? We'll see. But I'm interested to see if maybe Washington jumps ahead of Tennessee to go and get that player, a Love or a
Mhm.
Styles or, somebody like that, in which they would the Cardinals would only be dropping 4 slots, and it would be a better position to take Mauanoa. And then
Yeah.
they're still getting their offensive tackle. They're still and sure, maybe you lose maybe the Giants go offensive tackle, but or maybe the Browns go. Who knows? Maybe that's too far to drop. Um, I would explore that. I would explore a team like the Saints coming up for a Bailey.
Mhm.
Um,
I think the
do we
possibility for teams to move up ahead of a team like the Giants or the Titans are pretty limited, right? Like, I think in a
Mhm.
scenario where, like, if Washington loves Jeremiah Love, right?
Yeah.
Then they're gonna have to sacrifice a lot to get up to number 3. And that's not, they also need to sell it based on, like, if Arizona really is trading back for an offensive lineman, can they afford to trade back any further than 6, right? Because if they want their top offensive lineman, for a fact that Cleveland is thinking about an offensive lineman at 6. They are without a doubt
Mhm.
thinking about
Yeah.
that. And I
Yeah.
even think the
That's what I
Giants
have them pegged
could be
as,
a
so
I think the Giants could be pegged as an offensive line team also, depending on how they view this class, right? I mean, obviously the Giants have tons of needs. They could go Downs, Sonny Styles, Carnell Tate. Like they could go
they
in
could go Love. I
several
mean,
different
they can
directions.
go wherever they want. Yeah.
If Love is available, they could
Um,
absolutely take Jeremiah Love. So, um,
yeah. Jeff brings up, what about Cowboys coming up to 3? Now, with the Cowboys coming up to
that
3,
costs
that's costing you literally everything. I mean, that's a
that's going to
massive
cost
jump
you
from that's costing you
that's
12, 20, and something
and
else on top of that.
probably either a 1 or a 2 next year to do that. And I don't think the Cowboys are in a position to do that because, like, the Cowboys, like, I am not against, and I don't want to get into the full Cowboy conversation yet, just because, like, we're going to get to them in a minute. But
Far off,
um,
yeah.
I am not against the Cowboys trading up, but them trading up all the way up to number 3 puts them in a position where
Mhm,
their defense is so bad. And I don't think it's because they don't have bad players, but they need support on that defensive side. They really, really, and they need
mhm, mhm.
multiple young injections into that defense. They need smart football players. They need guys like Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, and like they need those kinds of players.
Yeah,
So I'm not against them trading up to a 6 or a 7 and giving up, a second next year to do it. But
yeah,
I
and the
also
thing with
have
the
to, like, you got to keep in mind they don't have a second round pick this year. They traded Oso Odigizua to get a third this year.
yeah,
Like,
yep.
they don't have very many premium assets left if they trade up into the draft. So again, if it's me, you really have to think about, if you're the Cowboys, you know, is that one player that you'd be drafting at 3, 4, whatever, is that one player worth sacrificing all these assets to continue building your defense?
And another thing to bring up with the Cowboys is the fact that they have so many top-heavy contracts. They need as much rookie contracts that are cheap but good
Yeah.
premier players as they can get.
Mhm. Right.
You don't get that if you're trading up for players. Let's decide what we're doing with the Cardinals. I feel like we should stick and pick. I'm fine with going Mauanoa right here. I personally would probably go Bailey just because I feel like he's kind of that guy that would fit in that scheme.
Mhm.
You compare him with some of those other young edge rushers that you've brought in, but just haven't been able to get on the field as much because due to
Yeah.
injury and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, but they could really go anywhere. I mean, no more Kyler. There's no quarterback here to trade up. But do you, just hypothetical, real quick? Do you trade down and load up for next year in regards to getting capital and stuff like that, so that you can make your move next year for your
Yeah.
quarterback? That's
I
another
I
possibility as well.
yeah, I think that's a part of it too. Like, listen, I think Arizona, I believe all the reports that say that Arizona should be motivated to move down because they like
Hmm.
it makes a ton of sense for them to move down. They don't necessarily like they could use David Bailey. Like everybody could use David Bailey, but they don't desperately need David Bailey yet. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay. It- what they
Let's go.
desperately need is somebody like Francis Mauigoa.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go, Magnoa. Um, I this is just, I mean, you know what they had in King Henry. You know that their coach wants to play good, sound defense, take pressure off that young quarterback.
Right.
I feel like Jeremiah Love's just staring you at the face. Now, do, does this kind of come into the forethought of it's a passing league now? We have one of these guys that can make the off platform throws, that can do the weird arm angles, can make insane throws. Do we just get him a straight weapon on the outside and a Tate?
So
Or do we
it,
get him a guy that can be utilized out of the backfield, get you big home run plays? I mean, I'm not on the full like Jeremiah Love's a great pass blocker, but he's definitely better than some of the guys they have there
mhm, yeah.
in Tennessee. And I don't know. What are you kind of thinking?
I think I so the Titans for me um have like let's just say for example EJ that this is the scenario that plays out, right? So Fernando
Mhm.
Mendoza, Arvell Reese, Francis Mauigoa, those are the first 3 picks of the draft. David Bailey is still sitting there and the Titans could use a pass rusher. Like let's be they could absolutely
They
use a
could.
pass rusher. David
Yes.
Bailey is more than likely the best player available at this point. Um Jeremiah Love, again, I think Jeremiah Love is a spitting image of Adrian Peterson. Like, I think that kid is super special. I've thought that since the end of the draft last year. Like,
Mhm.
I
I
am as
remember that.
high, if not more high, on Jeremiah Love than I was on Ashton Genty. Like,
Wow.
this kid is a special running back. Um, but David Bailey is sitting right there. You know what I mean? So you brought up Carnell Tate. I have not heard the Carnell Tate to the Titans rumor, but that's an interesting way to think about it just because you're
Mhm.
100% right. Cam Ward is going to need guys on the perimeter, and it's not like they don't need receivers. They could absolutely use another top tier receiver to give them another weapon. And they were not an
And Tate, I
offensively
mean,
strong team last year. So,
Tate following in line with those Ohio State wide receivers, he can
mhm,
run the full route tree. That takes off so much pressure from your young QB.
yeah,
If a
right.
guy can create his own separation against man coverage,
Mhm,
oh, and he can find soft spots in zone coverage, like, dude, like he's gonna be a dog wherever he goes. I'm so confident of that. But
yeah.
it's a defensive minded head coach. Do we just say David Bailey was not supposed to be here? And because he is, we have got to pick him.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm leaning. But listen, I I think at this point, if it were them, I think it would be between David Bailey and Love. It would be between those 2 players. Um, and I've
Okay.
heard a lot of Jeremiah Love, a lot of Jeremiah Love, but I at this point, I can't imagine David Bailey falling out of the top 5. You know what I mean? Like the Giants are not taking David Bailey. They don't like of any position that the Giants don't need, right? Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul
Yeah.
Carter. They do not need a pass rusher.
And
So
and this is one, yeah, I mean, we talked about it a lot last year during the draft and then um on draft night, we were like, Kayvon Thibodeau, he's gotta get traded tonight, doesn't he? And then still stuck around, still stuck around.
He's
What did they
still
actually
here.
do
Yeah.
with him? That's a possibility if they want to move a player that has upside, that can find a new spot to go and can really flourish
Yeah.
is
Right.
Kayvon Thibodeau. But Titans right now, what's your gut tell you? We wanna make this as realistic as
In
possible.
this in
What
this
does your gut tell you right
scenario
now?
in this scenario right here, I would probably have them taking David Bailey. I'd
Okay.
probably have them taking David Bailey. I just think you're right. Robert Saleh, defensive head coach. Um, he's the best player on the board. Like David Bailey should go top three. And if he doesn't go top
Mhm.
three, he'll go top four. So I would say David Bailey.
Let's go David Bailey then. The Giants now in my mock draft, full disclaimer, I have them taking Tate. I think pairing him
Mm,
with Neighbors would be electric. Of course, Neighbors coming off of, I believe it was an ACL, might have been, um, Achilles or something like that, but I'm pretty sure it was an ACL. Um, we'll see if he returns to form, but
right.
pairing that with a Jackson Dart, I know Jeremiah Love's right there, and I know Cam Scatterbo just had the injury and kind of tore himself up, but
Mhm.
legitimately, he looked pretty dang good last year, Cam did, and now Love is a different beast, don't get me wrong, but do you look at your roster right now and say, like, "Let's just build a fun, young core, and let's just go try to win ball games," taking Tate. Now, Love can absolutely inject a level of excitement that you hadn't seen since Saquon Barkley there, but I
Mhm.
think that they learned from their past, demons and taking a running back at 4
Mhm.
overall. This would be 5 overall.
Right.
Or no, they took a Saquon at 2 or something,
They did.
didn't they?
They took
It was
Saquon at 2.
something insane.
Yep.
Regardless, do do they kind of feel like, "Man, Saquon, he's such a special player. We saw what he did with the
Right.
Eagles," or do they say, like, "Running back, it doesn't matter how good your running back is, they're not solely winning you games like that
Yeah.
unless the rest of the team is in
Yeah.
position."
I've never been able to throughout the entire process, I've never been able to really wrap my head around the Giants taking Jeremiah Love. Like, I've never really been
Mhm,
able to do that. Now, if I'm the Giants, like in my this is right now so far, it's exactly how my mock draft has played out. I
m'kay.
believe. I think I had the Titans taking David Bailey at that point.
And who do
Um,
you have the Giants taking?
Sonny
Styles?
Styles. I had them taking
Okay, yeah.
Sonny Styles. So, just like full, like red dot scope linebacker. Like this guy is a ball menace,
Mhm,
um, sideline to sideline. He is just an all around unbelievable linebacker. Um, and I think the Giants could really use something like that. Um, like I said, I can't really get there with the Giants taking Jeremiah Love. I think they have something with Cam Scatterbo. So if
uh-huh,
Cam Scatterbo is going to be their guy, and they've got guys like Tyrone Tracy, and like I think they're pretty good in their running game. I think they could use some help on their offensive line, but I think if Marinelli is off the board, I don't
yeah,
know that you can take Spencer Fano, Caden Proctor. Like I don't know that you can go there with an offensive lineman at this point.
mhm,
Um, so Carnell Tate is not. I mean, listen. Earlier on, if you were to ask me a month ago what I thought the Giants would do here, I would have said, "Listen, they're going to go wide receiver. They're going to take Carnell Tate." Um,
mhm,
but it just seems like throughout the process, as we've gotten closer, they seem to have shifted what they wanted more towards defense, more towards Sonny Styles, more towards Caleb Downs. Even though, in my personal opinion, I think Caleb Downs is going to fall a little bit just based on the fact that he plays safety. Like that's what I think is
mhm,
going to happen. I like all these top tier safeties; they never go all that high. You'd have to go back to Jamal
yeah.
Adams for to see a
And I
safety
mean,
going as high as he did.
he didn't not an elite tester either for Caleb. Um, so you're kind of feeling more Styles.
I think
I'm still on the
Styles.
Tate train. I feel like, man,
Listen,
that would just boost up your fan, the energy with your fan base. Like, we got a young QB, we got the young running back who's a bruiser, we got
yeah.
Neighbors, we got Tate, we got you know what I mean? But I do see what you're
Let me
saying, like,
let me tell you
Styles
something.
is a true dog.
Let me tell you something. If the Giants take Tate, the Browns will move down. The Browns will move down.
Mm,
Because at this point, like the Browns could absolutely take an offensive lineman, right? They could stick and pick and take an offensive line. They could take Monroe Freeling here or something like that. Like they could, but
mhm.
um, I think they'd be better served. Like, and this is the trade scenario that everybody's been talking about, and every Cowboy fan knows this, right? The Cowboys would trade 12 and 20 for 6 and 39, right? Like, and that's
Uh-huh.
the scenario that they would do. And it comes out as a fairly even trade, and it works out for both sides. If the Giants take Tate, I think the Cowboys trade up. I think the Cowboys trade up and the Browns
Okay.
trade down. That's what I think.
So for implying that the Cowboys are going for Styles, basically.
Styles, or I would say in that scenario, they'd either be going up for Styles, up for Downs, or up for Bain.
Really, I don't think that they need to move for Downs. Truthfully, I
They
mean
might
the
not need
one
to move
team I
for
think you
Downs,
watch
but
for with Downs would be the Bengals.
the Bengals, and I think the Dolphins could
Yeah,
play in those
Dolphins.
waters
Yeah.
also. But and I think the Giants do. Like I think the Giants could get silly and and take Downs in the top 5 too. But if the Giants
Yeah,
take
man.
Downs in the top 5, then
They just spent on Tyler
that's
Newbin
fine.
like 2 years ago or so.
Oh, hey, listen, I'm not saying they should do it.
So
I'm
I
just saying I
yeah.
think they could. But
No,
yeah,
no, I got you. I got you.
if Cardinal
Let's
Tate could
roll with
absolutely
Styles
happen.
here.
Oh, okay.
You wanna go Tate just to shake it up?
Listen,
I feel like this is we've seen so many times where the Giants just have a perplexing pick where it's like, "Oh, that's not what we thought they were gonna do."
yeah,
Styles makes a lot of sense for them, playing in that linebacker role, a true leader, the literally the combine darling, just
yeah,
tested out of this world, um, makes a lot of sense. I don't know. The Giants are a weird team, but for the sake of this mock draft and kinda getting it rolling and doing some fun stuff, we're gonna go with Tate, I think, and shake this thing up
do
a
it.
little bit.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Next
Let's do it.
up,
Let's give him Cardinal Tate.
the Browns. Cleveland Browns need offensive tackle, need wide receiver, need quarterback as well, but we're not picking a quarterback here. It's probably one of those two positions, or do we look for a trade down? They have on their big board Freeling is the next guy up. Kind of interested to see what you think how these offensive
Mhm.
tackles should kind of go. If you go with Alolu, if you go with a Fanu,
Yeah,
um, where's my
I
other guy? Proctor.
I
Go ahead.
I just think they should like if Maui Noah is off the board, then
Hmm.
the Browns should trade down if they want an offensive lineman, right? Uh, Here's the thing: if the Browns want, like, if the Browns are going to stick and pick, and Carnell Tate is still on the board, they'll take Carnell Tate. Um,
Mm.
but
You don't think that there's any other wide receiver you would take as the Browns, or you think they would trade back just enough where they can
at
land
this
a
at this
Tyson
point,
or
no. At this point, no.
okay, yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's too early for Makai Lemon. I think it's too early for Jordan Tyson. It's certainly too early for guys like Omar Cooper and Casey
uh-huh,
Concepcion. Like
yeah.
it's way too early for those guys. Um, but the Browns could be like, listen, we need an offensive line. We're going to take Monroe Freeling. We're going to take Spencer Fano. Like that's what we're going to do. But I think they'd be best served trading down if they were going to do that. So
And who would you have trading up?
I think the Cowboys make the most sense. Again, because I think that trade like fits in a way that like it genuinely works towards both teams' needs, right? The Cowboys are looking not to lose premium picks, right? If the Cowboys can say, listen, we're okay with sacrificing 12 and 20 if we can get up to 6 and then we just move back, our second pick falls right back into the second round. I think the Cowboys would be comfortable doing that because they're in a position where
Yeah.
they want to get, like, if they stick, like, there's a real good chance that I think that Bain is gone, Downs is gone, Delane is gone, Styles is gone. Like, and you have to start looking at the Jermod McCoy. And Jermod McCoy's a great player, but I think the Cowboys are very nervous about Jermod McCoy. Um, Dylan Tieneman, like,
Yeah.
I think that's the group of players they'd be looking at if they stick at 12. I mean, and again, that could not be the case. Somebody could slip through the cracks. But if the Cowboys want that premier defensive player out of this draft, I think they got to move up.
Okay, so in my mock, I'm just gonna name the 2 people I had the Cowboys taking in my mock. I have Mansour Delane at
Okay.
12, another LSU corner. Not the biggest guy, but he's a freaking he's in the pocket of wide receivers, carries them well, mirrors the guys. I feel like they need a sticky cover corner.
Mm-hmm.
Can get up and press, can drop back in the zone, can click and close, get his hands on balls. And then at 20, I have Mesidor. So, a guy that can really play. He sets the edge, pass rush savvy. Talk about a toolsy guy to pair with Ezeraku.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You know what I mean? So, would you rather have those two and filling the needs of, and then trying to hit a linebacker later on this draft, filling the needs of corner and then edge, or would you rather have a Styles or a Downs just alone? You know what I mean? And maybe you
Well,
do. Maybe Downs does drop. I don't know that I would think that Styles gets all the way to 12, but that's
there's
realistic
no
for
way.
Downs
There's
too.
I, there's no way. I can't imagine Styles makes it all the way to 12. But I think
Yeah.
if the so here's the thing I will agree with you on. I'd be willing to say that if the Cowboys at this point were to trade up to 6, in this scenario, it would be for Sonny Styles, right?
Yeah.
Um, and
I
it
agree.
probably should be. It should be for Sonny Styles because he is a special player in a limited linebacker class. Like, because after this, like, I don't know that there's another off-ball linebacker that is worth taking in the first round, right? Like guys like
Yeah.
C.J.
Yeah.
Allen and Jacob Rodriguez and like those guys, I think are probably upper second round players, right? Like those
Yeah,
are going
and
to be
then
early
does
second
that
rounders.
kinda go into their idea with, like, "Hey, it's Styles," or we're looking down the barrel of not getting the linebacker till the 3rd round?
That's what I'm getting at. It's like linebacker is
Yeah.
probably the Cowboys' biggest need at this point.
Mm.
And this is just look at their depth chart. They've got like 3 guys listed at linebacker. Like it's DeMarvion Overshown, it's Maris Leafau, and it's Shamar James. Like outside of
Mhm.
they have nobody else outside of those guys. So do
Yeah.
they go
Yeah.
up and get Sonny Styles and then hope somebody like a I don't know, like somebody like a TJ Parker or something like that falls to them in the second round if they want to do something with their edge, right? Because listen,
Yeah.
at corner, like I certainly want them to get a corner, but if like Deron Bland's a stud, and if Siobhan Revel can still turn into something pretty good, he was pretty good for them last year. Once he came back, so
Yeah.
they could find something there. But they just need to get good defensive players. Are the Browns going to trade down here? Like that's really if this is the situation they're in, are the Browns going to trade down?
Yeah. Hmm. I think as a Cowboys fan, I don't personally want to trade up knowing how bad our defense was. I wanna throw darts at that thing, and I wanna get as many defensive talented players in the room as we
Mm-hmm.
can. Um, what do I feel like in my gut? Do the Cowboys feel like they would trade up? History tells me no. I mean, the last guy they really took the chance on and traded up,
Was Morris Claiborne?
I'm trying to think. I was literally about to say that. I was like, I think it's Morris. Yeah.
It was
So,
Morris
and
Claiborne.
that happened to burn them. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm wondering if there's any other team that's down here we're kind of overlooking that would trade up with the Browns.
I don't
Um,
know that I mean, there needs to be a target player, right? Like the Chiefs
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
the Chiefs have 2 first round picks, but do the Chiefs really need to trade up to get,
Lose one of those, yeah. They need
you know
edge,
what I
they
mean?
need
Like,
corner. Yeah.
but do they need to trade up? They're already picking ninth. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, do they
Yeah, yeah,
need to
yeah.
trade up for those things? I don't know that they do. Like the reason the Cowboys need to trade up is because you have defensive needy teams ahead of you, right? Like the Bengals and the Dolphins are like those teams are very secondary needing teams, right? You could
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
see Caleb Downs and Mansour Delane go in the 2 picks that are ahead of you, right? That are directly ahead of you. So
Yeah.
if
And then
you're the
how do you
Cowboys,
feel
like
and then how do you feel about McCoy? Yeah.
so
Coming off the
here's
ACL, how do you feel about
my
McCoy?
here's my thing about Jermon McCoy. I think if Jermon McCoy was healthy for 2025, he'd be the best corner in this draft, bar none.
CB1,
Like,
yeah. Yep.
I think Jermon McCoy as a prospect is better than Mansour Delane, but I think Mansour Delane is safer. Like that's really the way that I see it, right? Mansour Delane
Yeah.
to me, his physicals for me are not something that I love. You know what I mean? Like
Who was that?
arm
Do you
arm
remember
length, the
man,
whole bit. Like I'm not a huge like Mansour Delane is pure talent. That's what
mhm.
Mansour Delane is.
Who
Jermon
was that
McCoy,
kid? Sorry to cut you off. Who was that
God,
kid like 3 years ago? I wanna say he played out of South Carolina, cornerback, went to Tennessee, was injured coming in, and everybody's like, "No, he's the best guy." And then he just never got back to what he was and was just totally fizzled out. Do you remember who I'm talking
I
about?
can't I can't remember. I can't
Oh,
remember. You
gosh,
said
don't quote
South
me. I'll have to
Carolina,
search it
and I
up after
thought
the show,
J.C.
but
Horn, but um,
no, no, no,
look,
no. And
but
maybe it was or no, 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 it wasn't. I think it was Virginia. I think it was Virginia that he was out of or something like that. Anyways,
mm,
regardless, let's for the sake of the show, so we don't have to spend even more time. I mean, we're almost going an hour and we're only at pick 6. So for the sake of the show, let's just stick and pick right here and we're just gonna run it. I feel like offensive tackle is kind of what they want, especially
yeah,
seeing Tate go right above them.
yeah. If the Browns
Do
stick
we wanna
and
go
pick,
Freeling? Do we wanna
I think it's
go
probably Monroe Freeling. Um, I just think that
yeah.
the experience level for Monroe Freeling plays for him pretty heavily. Um, and I think a lot of people view him as like the safest thing to be a tackle. So I would say Monroe
I
Freeling.
mean, true, just to break him down a little bit, as I draft him, true mammoth of man, 6'7", 34-inch arms, almost 35-inch arms. His
Hmm.
RAS score, which is relative athletic score, 99th percentile as an offensive tackle. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's a freak for
second
his
best
size.
all time in the draft. Dude is a freak of a guy.
Yeah.
Big, strong, super athletic. He has a quick, elite first step as he gets out on those kick steps, paired with nice feet,
Mhm. Right.
outstanding ability to pull and get lateral.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, pass protection, really, really good. So they're
Yeah,
getting
he's
a
a
good
freak.
player, man, and they're getting a guy that is a absolute freak as an offensive tackle. So it what kind of feels like, ah, man, we're settling could look like the home run of the pick or of the draft
Yeah.
if they stick and pick and they get
Yeah,
this guy and he's just an all pro Joe
yeah,
Thomas level for years and years to
yeah,
come.
he's a great player.
So
He's a great player. Um,
and then
was
Washington, I mean,
this is
y-
Jeremiah Love. If
go
Jeremiah
ahead.
Love falls to the Commanders, then it's over. Like Jeremiah Love, you know, he doesn't
Yeah.
his absolute rock bottom floor, Jeremiah Love is the Commanders at 7. There's no way he gets past them. So I think if it happens like this,
Let's just
Jeremiah
pick
Love
him. I
is
mean,
easily the pick.
let's talk a little bit about Love though, what you like about him. So they are getting some analysis. I'll start it off really quick. True 3 down back. I'm not in love with his pass blocking skills, but true home run hitter, toughness,
Yeah.
um, easily like if you're gonna try to arm tackle this guy, don't even bother. Guy runs through those, has elite vision, balance, patience, natural fluidity as a pass catcher out of the backfield, even though he didn't do a whole lot of that.
Yeah, right.
Just easy, easy elite guy.
Yeah.
Burst, quickness, long speed, just takes it like he's deceptive, at setting up angles, bad angles for the
Mhm.
defender.
Yep.
Just crazy. I mean, talk a little bit about him if you want to.
Yeah, he's well, everything that you just said, right? I mean, he's so special. I just am I'm such a Jeremiah Love fan. Um, he's big, he's fast. Like I know it sounds so like bread and butter, like not all that deep, but
Mhm,
that's the nature of who he is. He is just a monster physically. I mean, he's DK Metcalf, but a running back. Um, he's just so fast for his
mm,
size. The way he can burst through holes is crazy. Um, I love his downhill speed. I love his open field awareness. Like he's just such a great player. Like I said, I am more confident in Jeremiah Love's immediate impact in the NFL than I was about Ashton Genty's last year. Like I think Jeremiah Love is a special, special player.
Do you have this is my only kind of qualms with Love for me is I don't see him as a true, like, bruiser, wear down the defense kind of a back like Genty is. Like, the longer the game progresses, Genty just like it's like a run that would have hit 4 yards is hitting 12 for Genty later on in the game, and now maybe that's just Jeremiah Love is getting that what would have got him 4 yards for Genty is getting him 12 yards anyways, and he's still gonna get 12 yards later in the game just because he has more wiggle to him, more finesse, setup,
Mhm.
regards, but I personally I've just kind of liked those running backs that kind of wear down the defense as the
Yeah.
game
Well
progresses.
the difference, at least for me, with Love and Genty was always like Ashton Genty's biggest thing, and you and I said it at nauseum last year, was Ashton Genty does not fall down. Like Ashton
Uh-huh.
Genty
Yeah.
is a pain in the ass to tackle, right? His contact balance is just so elite. And that was like Ashton Genty
Uh-huh.
was not faster than everybody else. He was not bigger than everybody else, but he just simply wouldn't go down, right?
Mhm.
Jeremiah Love
Mhm.
is not the same contact balance sort of player. I think he might be like more athletically side to side elusive than what Ashton Genty is,
Mhm. Yeah.
but
No, I agree with that. That's what I
I
have.
think just the nature of him being bigger and faster is gonna make him just a pain to deal with. You can't give him a lick of space because once he hits a hole, it's over. Like you
But yeah.
just can't catch him after that. So so yeah,
Yeah.
Jeremiah Love is a home run for Washington if
And
he ends up making it there.
I used to be very on the side of like, "Oh, no, I want the guy that could take it house anytime he touches the ball." But the more
Mhm.
I've started to realize that when it gets to playoff football, you're playing better teams, and the way to combat that is to wear them down throughout the game. That's where I've kind of started to shift my way of thinking with running backs in regards to, like, I want a guy that's punishing the defense, not the defense always punishing the offense.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, that's just a preference of mine. Now we go to the Saints here with the 8th overall pick, if I can get this. Okay, I'm not gonna even be able to get that in screen. This
Yeah,
doesn't have a
the Saints
scroller,
are
and my mouse right here, this is what I have to use to go up and down. So anyways, um, um, so you're not able to see the Saints logo, but it's right there, and, Saints needs are edge. Do they go Ruben Bain? This is who I have taking Bain here,
Yeah.
despite the short arms. I just feel like it's a
Mhm.
really big need. I don't
Yeah.
know if a wide receiver is good enough to take here and to pair with Olave, although
Mhm.
Tyson would be pretty sick with Olave, in my opinion. I could really see that, and I would really like that.
Yeah.
A corner, do is McCoy or Delane? are those guys good enough to go here this high for them when they need the edge help? And
Mhm.
the philosophy of mind in regards to fix your front, fix your defensive front, and the back will come along. I think so many NFL teams are staring that at a way that's like, no, just build up your
Yeah,
front line and the rest
right.
will fall in line. You know, and it's held true. I mean, it really has. So we'll see, but I'm kind of pinning Bane here. I know this is your guy, so why don't you talk about him if
Yeah,
that's the pick
I am
or
I
if you
yeah.
want to go somewhere else?
So, Ruben Bain, I think, fits a really, really well with what they wanna do. I also could see them taking either one of the corners, right? I think I could see them taking Delane, I could see them taking Jermod McCoy. Um, I don't think a wide receiver is gonna go here anymore. Is like, if Tate
Mhm.
is not here at 8, then I don't think that, like, they're gonna take Lemon or Tyson, or I don't think they're gonna take either one of those guys right now. But, so yeah, if it falls like this, I would say Ruben Bain is probably the pick. Um, he is I don't know, man. He's just a beast. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He's just so good. 6'2",
Well,
263,
this
ran a
is what I have.
4.72.
Okay, yeah, go.
He's just I get the short arm thing. I get it, but he is
Mhm,
so
mhm.
fast, so bendy. He's a really strong pass rusher, right? He punches you in the face. Like, I don't know, his routes to get to the quarterback, right? His angles are so crisp. I don't know. I think he is just such a like natural pass rusher. I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL. I know people are really banging him for his arm length. I understand all of that, but I just think as far as physicality and talent are concerned, I like Ruben Bain is right up there with guys like Bailey and Reese, and like I really think he's that good.
Well, this is what I have on him. Bane is a compact, power rushing bulldog with elite production at the college level that was on full display all throughout the playoffs. What will
Mhm.
be truly interesting is to watch whether or not a team can overlook his arm length or not. 30 and 7/8. They're the shortest ever. I also saw the report that said third shortest ever, so I'm not really sure which one, kind of conflicting reports.
Mhm.
Um, but that's not nearly as big of a deal to NFL scouts as it is if like an offensive tackle has super short arms. It's like, nope, kick him inside. He's a guard no matter what. I said comes as ready-made as you could ask for with moves like the stellar cross chop, long arm counter, bull rush, all being combined with the relentless motor. It's no wonder why he was able to have such success that he did. And he also can move inside
Yep.
on some reps as well. Like
Yep.
he's versatile in that respect as well. So I give him a lot of credit for that. Shows pretty solid awareness and run defense as well. So the short arms really do worry me though, because you get one of those, giants that we were just talking about, one of them. You get one of those giants in there that have those massive arms, and it's just
Yep.
like if they
But he's
get a
so
hold of
quick.
you, you're dead. You know what I mean? So,
He's so quick and so shifty
oh,
that
I know.
I I get it. Like, but even in a hand fighting match that he could have with an offensive lineman, like, he can win those
Mhm.
battles, right? He can. Like, the offensive lineman needs to beat him to the punch in order for those short arms to matter. And he's so quick that, like, I don't know. But if you're asking me, I really think that the short arm thing is a little overblown for me, because I think he's just a natural born, like, quarterback nightmare. He's just
First
such a good player.
percentile, though.
It
Ah,
doesn't I
man, I don't
see,
know.
like,
Scares me,
that
scares me.
I get it. I get it. I'm not as big. I'm not worrying about it as much as most people.
Yep. Alrighty, the Chiefs. Unfamiliar territory here for basically the whole Mahomes era. To be this high in the draft at number 9, where are they going? They
Yeah.
need the edge help. One just went that they probably would have been really excited if he would have got there. Um, this
Yeah.
is an opportunity after trading Trent McDuffie. Do they go cornerback? Do they reach for a McCoy or a Delane? I wouldn't really call it a reach, but do they go and get one of those guys? Um, or do they just simply take BPA and just go with a Downs or a Styles, even though they don't necessarily need those positions? Although Safety, I think, is in the talks more than it has up here on the team needs for the Chiefs. I could actually see them taking a Caleb Downs, but, interested to hear what you kinda think that they would do.
Yeah, I think they really need a corner. Like after trading Trent McDuffie, I really think that that corner spot is pretty bare for them. So it really depends on what they like, how big of a chance they want to take here. Because I genuinely think Jermod McCoy is the better player. I do. I think Jermod McCoy is a
Mhm, mhm.
better prospect than Mansour Delane is. But Mansour Delane played last year and Jermod McCoy didn't. So like that's really the big part of it.
Oh, I
What is
don't
this?
know if you can see it. That's who I have them taking,
You
is
had
McCoy
them taking Jermod
over
McCoy.
Delane.
I listen,
Yeah.
it would not shock me. It really wouldn't. It wouldn't shock me if Jermod McCoy went first. It wouldn't shock me if Jermod McCoy went before Mansour Delane.
Andy Reid loves taking O-line slash D-line in the first round, says the Sports
But there's
78.
none to
Man,
take.
I
I mean, like,
know, but exactly. Yep.
there's none to take.
Go
Like,
on.
if they want to take an off, like, are they going to reach and take Spencer Fano here? Like, I don't know that they can. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know. This is a team I think that really needs to kind of retool their defense a little bit. I've heard a lot of people talk about Kenyon Sadiq here too, but like Travis
Getting
Kelsey
ahead of
just
that.
signed whatever it was, like a 3-year extension or something like that, didn't he? So
Yeah, but I don't know that it's yeah, it might have some void years though, but and I don't see realistically, he's already lost a step and it's pretty evident. Um, is he really playing another 3 years? Like, eventually, like, doesn't matter how good the guy was for your team as, like, a legend of the team, eventually,
mhm,
you kinda have to be like, "Dude, like, we
yeah,
cannot continue to tie ourselves with you, like, if you wanna go play, you're gonna have to go play somewhere else."
yeah,
And we've seen those players that you had never thought would play for another team, go off to another team and kinda just be out there for 2 years, and then they finally retire, and it's like, "What? Just
mhm,
retire, dude, it's not that big of a deal." Um, I'm on board with going with one of these, corners here, but he does bring up a good point here. Proctor, maybe one of the late round tackles like Proctor. Why is it that Proctor has because, like, start of the draft process, I was hearing Proctor as, like, consensus, like, number 1 guy, and now it seems like everybody has him, 3rd, 4th, etcetera.
mhm.
Why is that?
He is not a great like lateral athlete. Like that's really like the big thing with him is that he's so big, but he's not like super quick for a big guy. You know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
he gets beat around the edge a decent amount of the time. Now he's you want to talk about arm size too. Like he doesn't have the longest arms either for a big guy. So
Yeah. For
that's
how
part
big
of it
he is,
also.
which is insane.
He's 6'7" and like 100,000 pounds. Um, what is he? He's
Yeah, like
I'm
350.
trying to pull.
Yeah.
Right. He's 350. Right. So 6'7",
Yeah.
352 is what I've got. Um,
Yeah, that's what I have.
but he is so like he's a really strong player. Like that's the thing. Like he's kind of like Ruben Bain in the sense of like if he lands his first punch, he's gonna win. Like he's just so
Mhm.
big and strong that he's gonna win the battle if he lands a good shot. But um if he goes up against a super quick pass rusher, he goes up against a Micah Parsons in the NFL, like he's gonna get dog walked
That's where
because
he's
he
gonna get
just
killed.
isn't gonna win the lateral battle with him. You know what I mean? So
And especially with, like, he has the proclivity to lose towards the inside. Like, he's really good about not allowing edge rushers to get outside,
right,
and he'll
but he also
he's good about
cheats a little
sealing
bit.
them, pushing them wide.
Mhm,
Exactly, which makes him susceptible to that inside counter.
right.
If you're dealing with a savvy pass rusher that understands, like, "This dude is trying to seal me so hard to the edge, all I'm gonna do is gonna give him an offhand swim," you're money. You're at
Yeah,
in the quarterback's lap quick.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's one of the things I really had pegged for Proctor, even though I mean, straight 3-year starter. Um, they're at Bama. I have the length as something that's kind of pegged for him, but it was really he's solid pass pro, he's solid run pro,
Yeah.
but sometimes he can get too dialed in and tunnel vision of what he thinks he needs to do that he's
Yeah.
almost hurting himself instead of playing like offensive line is a patient position where you're waiting for them to make the wrong move
Right.
and you're working with just your technique, right? Sometimes he gets a little bit too uh he tries to act in prudence and really he's acting in foolishness, right?
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
anyways, back to the Chiefs. I say we would go with one of these cornerbacks, whether it's Delane or McCoy.
Mm.
I kind of personally have McCoy because, like you said, I have
Take
him as the better
take
player
McCoy.
if everything is healthy. Do they
Take
trust the medicals?
take
Okay,
McCoy.
we're going
Listen,
McCoy.
let's be
And
funky. Take
let's
McCoy.
break down him. We need to break down these players as we go. After not playing in 2025 after a torn ACL in January, he's the true trusted prospect of the class, an elite man-to-man coverage corner that plays press, posted an incompletion or interception on 24. So basically, a quarter of the time he got targeted in 2024, he was forcing an incompletion or an interception. His game excels being at the line of scrimmage and rerouting receivers, throwing off timing, and utilizing his strength and length natural hands, the ability to click and close on the ball as he possesses a high football IQ and awareness, fluid hips, and fluid enough hips to hang with twitchier receivers, but the
Yeah.
strength and length to deal with the bigger bodies as well. If he can return to form, I think this team that gets McCoy could have a potential all pro on their hands, is what I have written.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think Jermon McCoy is, like I said, I keep saying it. As a prospect, I think he's the best corner in the draft. Um, it's just the fact that he didn't play last year. Like that's really the thing that's
Mhm.
holding people up. But I think, like reality is that if he played last year, I think he's pretty much a lock to go like top 5, 6 in the draft. I think he's that talented. He's
Mm.
such a ball hawk as a corner. He is step for step a great player. Size checks out. Um, recognizes routes really, really well. He tested so well at his pro day. Like he's lightning fast, lightning quick. Um, he's just going to be a lockdown corner. He really is. If the injury doesn't bother you, then Jermon McCoy's the guy. Like I think he's really a
Yeah.
great, great, great player. But like I said, I think Mansour Delane as a prospect, I think he's safer. Still really, really good. Like let's not, Mansour Delane is probably a top 10 player in the draft too. But like I think Jermon McCoy, just from a like upside talent perspective, I think he's got Delane beat. I think he's the better player.
Absolutely. The Bengals up next. Now, this is kind of where I had Caleb Downs going, but
Mm.
Styles is on the board. They need linebacker help. Where are we going and why?
So uh, the Bengals could absolutely take Sonny Styles if he were to go here. But that secondary is so bad in so many different ways. Like they really struggle um in their pass defense. They just do. So I would say if they have the choice between Caleb Downs and Mansour Delane, then yeah, it's got to be one of those two players. They have to supplement their secondary. It's got to be somebody like that. Caleb Downs
Okay.
is the better
Uh,
fit, I think. But again, like you know, either one. Honest to God, like the Bengals are in such a dire need of a secondary player. Like if they could take Caleb Downs and Mansour Delane and be a home run. Either one.
Who do we want?
I think Downs is the
I
better
personally
player.
think, yeah, yep, that's what I was just about to say. I think that we go with Caleb Downs. I mean, just to break him down a little bit, about as safe of a player as you could ask for in this draft. Possesses rare diagnostic processing ability, plays the QB's eyes at a high level, excels as a true box safety, but has the ability to be a slot matching nickel corner safety hybrid. Oh, yeah, he can blitz too. Downhill, he's a demon. He'll hit you, make you fill it, but also takes excellent angles and tackles with the best of them. Natural ability to flip and run when covering tight ends, running backs, can track the ball well enough. Natural leader in a 3 year starter that's seen a ton of ball. His limitations are basically his size and the simple fact that he's not a super elite athlete. Um, and then I've noticed that he doesn't always play that true, um, you know, back middle, single high look. I don't know
Right.
why he's more of that box guy, or if he is playing, off, um, then it's usually too high. So I kind of question if he has the true range like that. But truthfully, I wouldn't question it because I know he diagnoses so well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Caleb Downs as like a versatile secondary player is just dumb good. Like he's just so smart. He just seems to be in the right place at the right time almost all the time. He reminds me like a lot of the like Kyle Hamilton stuff. Like they're a little different as far as players, but just like football IQ,
Mm.
like they're right up there with like some of the top tier safeties that we've seen in previous years. So I think if
Yep.
it's
Yep.
if it's here, I think the
Let's go
Bengals
with
probably take Caleb Downs.
Let's go downs for the sake of getting this video rolling a little bit more. Sports 78, if if this is how it played out, I could absolutely see Dallas trading up with Kansas City for 9 and 29. Um, Dallas takes downs ahead of Cincinnati. It would
The
work.
problem the problem
Basically,
with
is what
that
he is saying.
suggestion the problem with that suggestion is just that Kansas City has similar needs to Dallas, right? Like Kansas City is going to be looking at a similar group of players that Dallas is. So, do the Chiefs really want to give up their
Mhm,
position to give up the better player, essentially to give Dallas the player that they could be wanting? Like that's really the thought process there for me.
mhm.
But I like the idea.
Now
I mean, listen,
here is an interesting discussion.
yeah,
Now, I mean, realistically, are the Dolphins gonna take Styles? Probably not. So you're still
no,
if you're the Cowboys, you're staring at, "Wow, okay, we didn't think we were getting Styles, but now unless Miami drops back with somebody that wants to jump ahead of us, we're getting Styles."
yeah.
So I think this is delaying here unless we go with, an offensive tackle, and that's the big discussion for me is what do we wanna go? Where do we wanna
Mhm.
go? Sorry.
So I've heard a couple of different things because I've heard that the Dolphins really want to tackle wide receiver early, right? Obviously, everything that went on with Tyreek Hill and they traded Jalen Waddle, like they definitely want to
Mhm,
tackle that area. I've also heard that they really love Spencer Fano. Like that's somebody that they're very high on. Um, so it's interesting because like Mansour Delane makes a lot of sense for Miami. He really does. Um, so they have options here. But it's that 10, 13, 14 spread that you've got on the simulator there. Delane, Lemon, Fano, I think are like the
mhm.
prime suspects there. So I would
You
say
wouldn't put
for
Tyson in
me,
this?
I think Tyson is falling a little bit out of favor compared to Makai Lemon right now. Now,
Okay.
I think Jordan Tyson is a really good wide receiver, and I probably say that Jordan Tyson has more upside than Makai Lemon does. But I think the way that teams view Jordan Tyson, they're really worried about his medicals, right? His injury history. He still hasn't played a full season in
Yeah.
college. So like I think that's a big deal for them. So um I think as far as like who I think is going to go first, I think Makai Lemon goes before Jordan Tyson. So
Then let's lock it in. I mean, they're getting another guy that is cut kind of in that same cloth of a Tyreek Hill, compact guy, competitor. Let me scroll down to my notes for Makai Lemon. Slot wide receiver, 5'11", 192 pounds, has an uncanny ability to find soft spots in the zone, snap off routes, can stack corners, and has elite, silky smooth hands. Technical route runner, that controls his tempo, sets up DBs, great ball skills along the sideline, impressive catching ability through contact for his size. Actually tries to block and has some pretty good reps as a blocker as well, which I was kind of surprised.
Mhm.
He does have some issues when it comes with to his size and limited yards after the catch ability
Yep.
on some of those shorter routes. He's not going to catch, a little 5 yard, quick route
Mhm.
slant and take it to the house. Like he's not an OBJ. He's not a Tyreek Hill in that respect, but he does a lot of good things, and he's a quarterback's best friend when it comes to just catching the ball, being consistent, finding those soft spots. If a play breaks down, he will be a guy that you can trust to roll off of what he was doing and just go, move with his quarterback. Um, so we're gonna go with Lemon here. Is that kind of the consensus? And
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yep. That could definitely happen without a doubt.
We'll go with Lemon there for the Dolphins after they trade Waddle. The Cowboys, I think this is, I mean, it's a no-brainer for the Cowboys. They really, really need the linebacker
Dream.
help. I
This is a
know that the
dream.
lane is there, but Sonny Styles, I mean, nobody thought he would be here. Of course, in our mock
Yeah.
draft, who knows if it plays out like this, but I'm just gonna go ahead and click it. I don't care what you say,
Yeah.
Mike. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
No,
it's Sunny Styles. It's Sunny
let me go
Styles.
back
This
up
is
to
a
my notes and kind
if
of
that's
read.
if that's the case, if this actually were to take place, it is a dream scenario for the Cowboys. Dream. Sonny Styles is the player they want.
They
I'm
would
sure of it.
go Styles over Delane, yes. You wanna break down some notes on him really quick?
Yeah, he's so sideline to sideline. He is just a monster player. He really is a special off-ball linebacker, great size, 6'5", 244. Um, can beat you in both in the run and in coverage. Um, really
Mhm,
good at
mhm.
covering tight ends. Like he's got like the body and the athleticism to hang with tight ends. Plays to the whistle, all the good things that you would expect out of an off-ball linebacker. That's what Sonny Styles is. Um, this thing that like people talk about with him is that he's got to get a little stronger, right? Like he's somebody that like maybe early on, like in his rookie year, like he might get pushed a little bit. Um, but I think he's just such a like dynamic player that and his instincts are so good. Like I think at some point he'll just, like he'll figure it out. Like he's such a good player with a good head on his shoulders. He's a big time pro. Um, really special guy. So I think Sonny Styles is a home run at this point in the draft. Sonny Styles could go top 5. Like he's so good. So
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Styles, so what I had on him, possesses great man and zone coverage ability with an awareness that highlights his former safety role in high school. Amazing sideline to sideline trades, posting a 4.4 43 yard or 43 inch vertical, 11.2 broad jump at the combine. Natural leader, still learning the linebacker position, but has true superstar potential.
Mhm.
Um, while he'll never be like a down to down edge rusher. You can sporadically use him in blitzing roles.
Yep.
Although, you would never want to use him like a Micah Parsons. That's more of the Reese role. If you're going to take one of these Ohio State linebackers. I said that his tackling can have some lapses and his eye discipline can have some lapses, but I think that's more due to him um, not being as accustomed to playing linebackers just yet. When you're a safety, you have that ability to take a tick longer on stuff. So sometimes he can take the bait on some, play action stuff and kind of move up and then be like, oh nope, I need to
Yep.
sink back or
Right.
whatever. So that's just gonna get better with time. None of these prospects are clean to the T, like nothing wrong with them. But I really do like the prospects of getting a linebacker in that can be a true leader paired with an overshown that had already shown some great leadership qualities and really
Yep.
build from your linebacker unit, especially going to that 3-4 defensive scheme now. So we'll
Yep.
see how that happens. And if this comes to fruition, if a Styles here is here in Dallas, that's gonna be really fun.
Yep.
13, the LA Rams. This is one of the teams that I have almost penciled in for a wide receiver. Do they go with a Jordan Tyson? Do they want to go with one of these tackles to keep Stafford upright?
Mhm.
Um, what are your thoughts? Far too early for a quarterback, in my opinion, but
No, that
do they go
I
offensive
don't
line,
imagine.
wide receiver? What are you feeling?
Yeah, it'll be between those 2 spots, I think. Jordan Tyson is definitely the best wide receiver left. Spencer Fano, Caleb Lomu, um, if they wanted to go tackle, they have options here. So, if those are the 2 positions they want, they're gonna have their choice of guy. It just depends on what they think is the bigger need, right? They still have Puka Nakua, obviously everything that's going on with him, but they still have Puka Nakua, they still have Devontae Adams. So, like, they're not super hurting at wide receiver, but I know they want to get an extra one in that room. Um,
Yep.
listen, I think they can't go wrong either way. If they take a wide out, great. If they take an offensive tackle, great. It just depends on what they value more. So I've heard more often wide receiver than offensive
Yeah,
line.
that's why I already have Jordan Tyson going here, and I actually had them taking Tyson over Lemon. I didn't even have Lemon going as
Mhm.
early as he did. So
Right.
I personally think that they want a guy that they can use in all three wide receiver positions, whether it's the X, the Z, in that slot. I think that's Tyson. He has great route running nuance, tempo, quickness, attacks defenders at all three levels of the field,
Mhm.
has nice body control, hand timing, toughness on 50-50 balls. He's good after the catch. He has great vision. Also been mentored by Hines Ward, yeah, that NFL legend, you know him.
Yeah.
Limited traits, just lack of overall elite traits, in my opinion. So he's not a great athlete, but he's good enough. Injury history, he does have some injury
Mhm.
history with, I believe it was his hamstring on 2 separate seasons.
Yeah.
And then he can have some drops through contact. So despite him being a good 50-50 ball winner, if you pop him he can drop it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think that Tyson is one of those guys that I'm kind of surprised is not more of the consensus wide receiver too, for a lot of people. I
Yeah.
really like him a lot.
I think it's injuries. Like I think that's what it is. I think it's injury history in college that's really hurting him right now.
Mhm.
Um,
All
Ravens at
right, the
14.
Baltimore Raven, or did you
I
want to talk?
I think this is like a like automatic. Like if this is how the draft falls, this is what they're gonna do. I think Vega Ioane is like the guy they're gonna take. I think that they're gonna take that first dead set interior offensive lineman. There are a lot of people that think Ioane is the best pure offensive lineman in the draft, and just because he's not a tackle, that hurts his
Very
stock a
good.
little bit.
Yes.
But but I think the
But
Ravens here
last year we
with that
saw
clear cut need.
yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say last year we saw Tyler Booker go high, so I mean, it's not like it doesn't happen. So,
Yeah, right.
I agree. Uh, this is a Ravens pick if I've ever seen one. Just breaking down him really quick, I think impressive blend of size and hand strength, balance, leverage, true run blocking dominance. Excellent road grader, excels in the power run gap scheme. So allow him to clear some holes for Big Derrick Henry.
Right.
Um, he gets up to the second level pretty consistently, gets good blocks, has proven to be a solid anchor in the pass and pass protection as well. Overall, his hand strength is good, but he needs to get some refinement on technique as far as his hands go. But overall, I mean, this guy's one of the safer players in the draft, in my opinion. And I don't see him being a bust at all. I mean, he has some limitations when it comes to his true athletic ceiling, but as far as like athletes go, he gets the second level well
Mm.
enough for a guard, and I mean, he's a mauler. So Seems like a Baltimore Ravens pick.
Yeah, I think this is Vega Ioane without a
Now, if I
doubt.
can find him on here. Alrighty. Jumping to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they need edge, linebacker. They need defensive help.
Yeah.
Or what I have them going with is completely ignoring that and going and getting Sadiq and just making that offense fun.
Yeah, I mean,
What you
they
have it
could
like.
absolutely do that. I mean, the crop of edge rushers that they're now choosing between are the
That's
Akeem
true.
Mesidors, Keldrick Falk, like, it's gonna be that group of players. Do they feel comfortable taking that type of player this early? I am personally not a huge Keldrick Falk fan. Um, but I think, like, they have to also think too, like, Mansour Delane is still there. You know, like, at what point does the fall
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
for Mansour? It's not like they couldn't use a corner. Like, Mansour Delane is still there and kicking. So, what happens there?
Yeah. And that kind of seems like he would be a really nice fit as well for the Tampa Bay team. Just knowing the players that that division has to see as well. Um,
Mhm.
they
Right,
have some decently good wide receivers there in that division, so I think that helps them. The edge class, like you said, like there's a after you get that first little group done, then there's like a bigger group where you could kind of see any of those guys go. Um,
right, right.
I'm what do I had Sadiq, but I mean, I think that you're right. Delane is staring them in the eyes, and I think that he's that mirror corner. He's that sticky guy in coverage,
Right.
gets his hands on balls. Um, I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think at
Um,
this point, it's gotta
Let
be
me read
Mansour
what it
Delane.
said.
I mean, like, because how far is this guy gonna fall? Like, the Vikings at 18 are probably the furthest he could fall like that in a situation like this, but
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Delane. Who's
Let's go
next? So
Delane.
this is the,
Just to break him down really quick, I just said he oh gosh,
it's
16
the
would
Jet
be
it's the Jets.
the
It's the Jets.
Jets. Yep.
Um, but, um, so they took Arvell Reese already. Um,
So who do we have them picking first? Arvell Reese, okay, so they're hitting kind of a dual need right there in linebacker and edge, as long as they use him as that kinda hybrid.
right.
Is this where they kind of attack that offensive tackle position?
Do they need to? I mean, like, I don't know that they need a tackle. Like, I think they're gonna give Olu Fashanu and Armand Membo a shot there. Um, so
Are you kind of feeling wide receiver-esque right here?
I think the Jets are pretty pissed that that Jordan Tyson didn't make it. Didn't make it to them, or Makai Lemon. Um,
I know. I
they
know it.
definitely want one of those two players.
This is where I actually have been going.
Say again?
I said this is actually where I had Lemon going. I actually had Tyson going to the Rams and then Lemon falling all the way to 16 to the Jets,
Hmm. Yeah. Well, listen,
which would be an interesting pairing with Garrett
I
Wilson there.
yeah, it's just so. Or I think I still think it's early for Omar Cooper. Like, it's early for Omar Cooper. It's early for KC
Yeah,
Concepcion. It's
I
early for
agree.
Denzel Boston. I just can't get there with those guys over here. So I don't know that wide receiver makes sense for them anymore. Um, I they could have taken Mansour Delane. I mean, they really could have if they really wanted to. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
right after trading Sauce Gardner, they could have absolutely taken Mansour Delane. Um,
yeah.
I don't know that they double dip on edge, right? Like they're not going to take Keldrick Falk. They're not going to take Akeem Messidor. I mean, I don't know. At this point, I almost feel like them taking Omar Cooper is their best option here. Like they just don't need anything. Like they don't need
Yeah.
a
I mean,
tackle. They don't need a safety.
here's the
Like
thing,
that's not what they need. They don't need a tight. Like they're not going to take Kenyon Sadiq. Mason Taylor played really well
and
for
with
them last year.
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, Omar Cooper does give you something different from Garrett Wilson. I mean, you think about Garrett Wilson, he's the route runner. He's that guy that can, um, you know, route you up with tempo, with the subtleties that you want from your wide receiver. Omar
Mhm.
Cooper, he wins in a different way in which he has very reliable hands. He is a guy that kind of wins off of strength and,
Yeah.
winning tough catches through contact.
Mhm.
He's not going to route you up, but maybe that's kind of what you need, a safety blanket guy that can go up and be dynamic after after the catch and just get you yards like that.
Yep.
You already have the route runner guy. So it feels early. It really does. And especially knowing that he's had some kind of character concerns, some leadership concerns, but he doesn't have to come in and be wide receiver one for that team.
Mhm.
It seems like a reach, but I kind of like the pick in a way, and we're gonna make that. And now we've got the
Yeah.
Detroit Lions up here. Um, Dallas would probably trade up for Delane at this point. Styles in the lane would be insane. Yeah, that would be sick.
So
Unfortunately,
gross.
Delane has already gone. All right, Detroit Lions. They are a team that is they need some offensive line help.
Yeah, they do.
Um,
I've
they are
heard
severely
that this
hampered
is
by
the
people. Yeah, go ahead.
I've heard that this is the floor for Caden Proctor. Like I've heard that Caden Proctor will
That's
not
who I
fall
have him
past the
going
Detroit
with
Lions.
in my I'm glad that we're both on the same page. Caden Proctor, we've talked about him a little bit. Mammoth of a man. He's pretty good in run defense, pretty good in defense. I think that or pass protection and run protection. My bad. Um, uh, he's that guy that he can be really, really good, or he can be a guy that fizzles out, in my opinion. We will see what happens, but they drastically need offensive line help. And this is kind of possibly best case scenario for a team
Yeah.
that likes to play hard nosed um, run and pass offense where they're marrying those two things really, really well. Um, he does both of those excellent.
Yep.
So we'll see if he doesn't get in trouble with some of these craftier technician kind of pass rushers at the NFL level. But
Yep.
um, solid pick to get him at 17 here for the Lions.
Yep. Yeah. He's so
The
big. I mean,
Vikings.
yeah. So
Oh, sorry.
Minnesota is so
Go ahead.
I think there's a I think there's a delay between us, CJ. Like I think there's like a couple second delay
There
between
must
like
be. I told you that storm was running in. So
I'm telling you, man. It just we haven't done it in a while, so of course it isn't going to be like super duper clean yet. But all right, Minnesota, um, they need a safety, right? Like they really need a safety. Dylan Tiedemann is right there,
hmm
right?
hmm
So is Dylan Tiedemann just like the easy makeshift pick here for Minnesota? Probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think Thiemann is he's not the biggest safety, but he has a lot of range. He gets his hands on balls, um, tracks the ball incredibly well. He has a lot of effort. The leadership is seeping out of this guy. He never takes a play
Yeah.
off. He has the high motor, can play free, can play box, can jump there in the slot. Um, Good in run defense. I think that sometimes he can over anticipate in run defense and get kind of caught up
Mhm.
um, in trying to like, he's not the most athletic guy, and I think that sometimes he almost tries to be a little bit too quick to jumping into an angle like, "Oh, I'm gonna pursue," and that can get him in trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
he's good in coverage. I'll say good in man and zone, but I don't think you want him carrying, a legit wide receiver on a deep crosser or anything. Like, he's gonna lose him over time. Like, he can play
Yeah.
man, but to the, um, where a guy's not gonna run away from him, is what I'm trying to say, but has that range. He has a really, really good brain and just understanding what the opposing offense wants to do. I think that
Yeah.
he can get bit by that sometimes, but overall, he was really fun, to watch at Oregon,
Mhm.
and, I know he didn't have quite the interceptions that he did early on in his college career, but he got his hands on balls still, and he was
Yeah.
a really big, part of that leadership and that defense last year.
Yeah. Yeah. Dylan Thieneman is a smart football player. And he's gonna make a big impact on whatever defense he's on. I do not view him in the same regard as somebody like Caleb Downs, but like I think he's the
Uh-huh.
next best safety. He really is. Like I think he's probably a little bit of a step
Yep.
above Emmanuel McNeil Warren. Um, but he just is such a versatile, good ball hawking player. Um, and there are a lot of defenses that just need a top shelf. Like they need a back end defensive player that can take the ball away, right? Can prevent the big play. And Dylan Thieneman can absolutely do that.
Yeah. The Carolina Panthers, they have needs of tackle, safety, D tackle, wide receiver, tight ends, what they kind of have, pegged here. Um, I personally don't see a wide receiver as big of a need as they're kind of making it seem, but,
Mhm.
um, I disclaimer, on my mock, I have them taking a defensive tackle. Where are you thinking they would go?
I feel like if Kenyon Sadiq makes it here, then Carolina would be pretty hard pressed to pass on him. Um, in my
Mm,
mind, like they could use some sort of like offensive physical freak, and I think Ken in that position of need really
uh-huh.
too. I think Kenyon City kind of fits that profile of what they could be looking for. So if it's me, I think Kenyon Sadiq is a player Carolina would be really interested in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't the reason why and it does fit with their needs, and I think he would be really cool as far as growing their offense and maturing their offense in the right way. But is
Mhm.
Bryce Young really the quarterback you want dropping back and just throwing it 40 times a game? I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they almost should shift to more of a running team. And if that's the case, Sadiq is not a blocking tight end in that respect. He's
Mhm.
not a true do it all kind of tight end. Um, but I do see the vision of pairing like a Coker with McMillan, Sadiq, filling out the rest of that room, and then just kind of
Right.
getting Young back into that kind of Alabama Bryce Young,
Right.
where it's like, hey, I can do some impressive Mahomes-esque stuff if I've got the right talent out there to help me. But that starts with blocking for the dude, and they really need offensive line help, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Um, who is it? Ike Ekwamu that they took a few years back,
Yeah, right.
and I mean, they've 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 got to figure how to keep Bryce Young from um just getting injured. He's a small guy, and keeping him upright and with confidence. You saw what that confidence did with that team when it got injected in him,
Yep.
because he was so bad at sometimes during the season, but then
Yep.
he got a little bit of confidence and started stacking games, and then it's like, whoa, okay, we went from quarterback being our biggest need to like, hold on, we might have something with Bryce again. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
um, interesting. I'm gonna defer to you in this one, and you can make the case for why. Go ahead.
I I think Sadiq makes a lot of sense. Um, I also think somebody like Spencer Fano is like somebody that they could really value, um, especially on the interior if they really feel that way. Um,
Mhm.
but I'm gonna say Kenyon Sadiq. I think Kenyon Sadiq is like just the right athlete to, last year was really the first year I think that um the Panthers felt pretty confident in like what Bryce Young could be. And if they want to build upon that, then they got to provide him a little bit
Mhm.
more. They need to give him some more toys to play with. And I think Kenyon Sadiq fits the profile of what they can seamlessly fit into that offense.
The Dallas Cowboys back up here at number 20. They got their linebacker. Now, do they get some edge help trying to fill in after trading away Micah Parsons? Or do they try to reach for one of these corners? Do they go with an offensive tackle? The Cowboys love taking offensive tackles. Is there one? Hold on. I haven't really searched this up. Is there a Tyler that I need to know about? Let me see. Yeah. Okay. No, no,
No.
no. I'm just kidding. But I'm not kidding. Um, no. So I have on my mock draft, Mesidor here. I love his motor. I think that he's toolsy. He's a guy that will set the edge. He'll play hard. He's got a motor. He fits in with what I really think that the Cowboys want to build defensively. And I'm interested if you kind of feeling the same, if you think that's a little bit of a reach. Where are you going?
I know we've talked a lot about cowboy trades too, by the way. I think like perfect best case scenario would be, I think, for Dallas to, like, if they were able to nab a Sonny Styles or a Mansour Delane or something like that with their first pick without needing to move up, then they could trade down
Mhm.
from this pick, move back into
Recoup
the
a second.
into the mid late 20s or into the early second, pick up a couple extra assets and sort of get somebody that fits a little bit closer to their needs. I think like at this point with the edge rushers, like I'm not in love with either Keldrick Falk or Akeem Mesidor. Like I think they're good and I think they're probably first round players, but I
Mhm.
don't view either one of them as like a potential like perennial double digit sack guy. I don't know that I see Akeem Mesidor as a
Superstar.
12,
Yeah.
13
Yeah.
sacks a year guy in the NFL. I don't know that I see that. Um,
Yeah.
but do I see somebody like Colton Hood or Chris Johnson or Avion Terrell as like you know, as a corner that could fit into the rotation of Bland, Ravel, Kobe Durant, Kalen Carson? Like, do I see that as more of a
Uh-huh.
like something that they want to do? Because I don't know that like even Zion Young, right? Like Zion Young is on that graphic too. I don't know that I'm comfortable taking him this early. Um, but listen, all the
Yeah,
rumors do
I
say that the
have him
Cowboys have
at
have talked about edge rusher pretty intensely in their draft meetings. So it would not surprise me if they went edge at some point early.
yeah, I would like to see them if we do land one of those players like you mentioned at the top, if we could recoup the second. However, knowing Jerry, he wants that 5th-year option if he can help it, that extra year of control because he's a guy that waits on contracts way too long. Um, so we're going to pick, one of these defenders. I think it has to be defense. And we're
Oh yeah,
not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
make
yeah.
a trade. So do we want to go with and, full disclaimer for anybody that, is watching, I have not watched Colton Hood. I have not watched this Brandon Sissy, uh, however you say his last name. Um, I haven't watched this other guy that you brought up. So this is how do you say
Brandon Brandon Sissy is what you said.
it? How do you say it?
Brandon Brandon Cisse. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Cisse, okay,
Oh
there you
my
go.
god, that is so
Sissy.
funny.
If he gets drafted by the
Brandon
Cowboys, I'm gonna call him
Sissy.
Sissy. Anyways, hey, that just shows, I'm okay with not portraying like I know it all, okay? I haven't watched these guys, Imma be
Go.
honest. Do you think any of those guys are honestly worth picking at 20 right here, or would
I
you go with the edge?
I would be not upset with somebody like Colton Hood, but I think, um, if I'm taking an edge rusher here, I'm probably taking Akeem Mesidor over Keldrick Falk. I just think Akeem Mesidor has more burst.
Yep.
I think his pass rush arsenal is a little bit more polished. Keldrick Falk reminds me a little bit too much of a guy who will get stuck in quicksand in the NFL a little bit. Um, so if the Cowboys stick and
Mhm.
pick here, the best value they can get tied with positional need is probably Akeem Mesidor.
'Kay. I'm gonna pick him. I had him in my mock draft. I liked the kid. I didn't watch disclaimer, I did not watch a whole lot of anybody. This was my homework. I haven't really been in draft season, but I did do some homework, and I liked him when I watched him, and I thought that he showed that he has now he might not always win with every move, but he has a lot of moves to his arsenal. I
Mhm,
liked to see that. I thought that he was, a high motor guy. I actually have it written, has the motor of a classic straight six that just keeps on going, baby.
mhm,
He's that. He's gonna give you effort every single down. He's gonna show he's like, hey, this isn't working. The cross chop isn't working anymore. I'm gonna hit you with a Euro step to kind of try to set you up. I might flash my hands, then take them right back down after you try to punch them and just slip under you. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that would try different things. He's not afraid to fail if he's just getting whooped. He's like, well,
yeah.
I'm just gonna throw the book at you and see. Hopefully, something will happen,
Yeah,
which I did like about him a lot.
he's an explosive player.
Moving
He
on to
definitely is. And I think, his pass rush arsenal is so, polished in that sense. Um, the reality
yeah,
is that sorry, excuse me, with the Cowboys having guys like Rashawn Gary, Donovan Ezeraku, like I think Donovan Ezeraku is a really good looking young player. I think he could be a really good rotational not
uh-huh.
even just rotate, like a really solid starting pass rusher. And if they can just get more good football players on the edge with what they've got on the inside with Quinton Williams and Kenny Clark and whoever else they're planning on putting over there, like that's a real solid group. So I think that's a decent idea to have.
All right, here we go. I kind of have this is kind of where I have Spencer going and kicking inside with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mhm.
He- What what's your idea on that? And do you think that's where he's actually best utilized?
They, I mean, they did something similar with Troy Fautanu, right? Like, they could do something similar to that.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
I don't know. I'm curious if like Pittsburgh needs wide receivers so bad. They really, really need a wide out. But they're all gone. Like, like even Omar Cooper is not available
They
anymore.
do.
Um, Yeah, I think Spencer
Yeah.
Fano makes a lot of sense here. I think either one of the offensive tackles that are left makes sense here. Guys like Caleb Lomu or Blake Miller, like I think those guys make some sense. So yeah, offensive line I think is something that they could go with.
What are you I'm with the Fanu. I mean, are
Yeah.
you do you have somebody you like better? What's your idea?
No, I think Fano is the guy. At this point, I think Fano's the best offensive lineman available. I think you could make the argument that he was better than Caden Proctor. But I think Spencer Fano, given his versatility, um, I think he's the best offensive lineman available right now. So yeah, if you're going to take an O lineman, I think Fano's the guy.
Yeah. I mean, just quick notes on this for the people who haven't, been up on it. Quick out of his stance, possesses independent hands that are strong and nicely timed on punches. Nice kick step, excellent balance and pass protection, has football IQ that allows him to make pre-snap adjustments at the line and recognize assignment shifts. Lacks some power in the run blocking game, has an impressive ability to climb to the second level, though, and open holes for the ball carrier. His concerns come with his lack of hand size and arm length, in addition to his pad level at times, just too upright of a player sometimes. But overall, I think that he's absolutely a first round guy. And here he goes at the middle to late first. So I like that pick a lot
Yep.
for the Steelers. Here at 22, the LA Chargers, offensive guard, edge, D tackle, safety, cornerback. It seems like everybody needs that in the NFL. Where are they going and why, Mike?
I think they'd love to get an interior offensive lineman. Like, I think they'd love somebody like Vega Ioane. I think they'd love somebody like Spencer Fano. Um, but I think at this point, the value tells you that you should go with an edge rusher. Keldrick Falk is still there. He's a really nice player. That gives you some versatility. Guys like TJ Parker, Cassius Howell. You can really look at a couple of different edge rushers here. I think the best one available right now is probably still Keldrick Falk. It gives you a little bit more versatility on the defensive line. You can kick him inside if you have to. And they could definitely use a little bit more punch on their defensive line. I think Keldrick Falk is somebody that they should look at.
Okay. I disclaimer again, I actually didn't watch Keldrick. He was one of those guys that I didn't get to right before the show. So, but if you think that's the next guy that's kind of in line that you feel, I think that fills a need for them, especially with their current state of their edge rushers. And
Mhm.
I think that I saw that Mac was coming back, but still, he's an older player now. He's aging, um, and so I I I think that this is it's a pick that's not super exciting based on what you're saying about Falk, but um, it's a need, and it's one of those things like teams love to throw darts first round on edges. So
Yep.
I say we go with him.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock. Pick number 23 right here. They need edge help. They need an offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight ends, and what are they doing with AJ Brown? They traded for who did they trade for from the Packers? Dontavian Wicks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so who knows with this AJ Brown saga. Um, I don't think that KC is in play for them here. Um, it just doesn't fit with what they want to do, in my opinion. Um, Now the offensive tackle, I actually had Blake Miller going to them, but I also didn't have Lomu being here. So what, or would you go somewhere completely different? What are you kind of feeling,
Well,
Mike?
they certainly have a history of preloading offensive linemen, right? Like they draft O linemen and don't necessarily start them right away. I think that could really benefit a player like Caleb Lomo.
Mhm.
I really do. Like he's gonna be a tackle in the NFL, but he's still a little raw. I think Caleb Lomu is a
Yeah,
great project for the Eagles to take on.
let's go with that then, and we'll lock that in. Like you mentioned, they're one of those teams that likes to develop their guys, let them learn first by the dogs that they have in there, and it's
Yeah.
worked time and time after, time and time again. They remind me with kind of how the Packers do their quarterback room, where they'll bring them in 2 years early and just develop them, get them ready, and then by the time that they're ready, they're stellar. It's like they didn't even miss a beat. So, um, and Philly, is as much as I hate them, they do a really, really good job about building in the trenches, and right on brand, they're gonna do it again. So, the Browns again back on the clock. What did we do with them earlier? They picked the offensive tackle, didn't they?
Yeah, they took Monroe Freeling. So they really need a wide receiver. I mean, this is a team that is so bare when it comes to wideouts. I mean, Casey
Mm,
Concepcion, Denzel Boston, like that's really where we're looking now. I think they have to take one of those wide receivers at this point. They're so bare with in that wide receiver room, even if it is a reach, and I think it is probably a little bit. But they have to get a receiver in that room. They have to. So I would say KC Concepcion is probably the best available
shoot,
wide receiver. But I mean,
yeah, he was
either
the
way,
last guy that I watched today. I Yeah, I just put for him, I thought he was actually pretty dynamic in yards after the catch, possessed nice open field vision, in combination with some wiggle that springs him, can eat up turf very quickly, uh, a quick acceleration, smooth movement at the top of the routes and breaks, impressive ability to go up and make some tough contested catches, has a chip on his shoulder and doesn't shy away from contact. He's not just going to step out of bounds. He'll give you a little pop at the end of things, which I liked. He has some limitations as far as size, compact build, slight. Um, Needs to improve his hands. He had some serious drop problems, and
mhm,
I think whenever I watched him a little bit, he was um, he's just lazy as far as blocking goes. Didn't seem like he had the desire to block, and so um, you can do that when you're an exceptional receiving, option. But if you're just a new kid on the block, they're going to expect you to block, and so we'll see what happens that right there. But maybe a reach for the Browns, but they've gotta get a wide receiver. They got to inject some type of explosiveness into that offense, and I think that they will with him. Moving on, we have the Bears, and now this is one of those guys that I personally wanna shout out, when I watched him, let me go down. Caden McDonald, big sorry, not gonna wow you as far as, like, traits go, like height, length, all that stuff, but he has elite strength in the interior. Sneaky good athlete, can anchor down, win at a high rate, with his run defense, with his hands, has foot quickness, a nose for the football. He's ragdolled a couple people that I was whenever I watched him. Does have shorter arms than you would hope for, but he's just that trash full of dirt in the middle, hard to move, can take on the double teams, does not move an
yeah,
inch down there. Needs to have better pass rush savvy. Basically, right now he's just a bull rush, and after that, he's dead. But he has tools where he can develop. Um, I kind of like him for the Bears and stopping the run when they're facing teams like the Packers that have a good running back, a bruiser back, and then the Lions where it's like, sure, they want to probably hit it outside with Gibbs more, but just allowing them not to go up the middle is there's some value to that as well. So, um, I personally like him and I wanted to shout him out, but there's Peter Woods as well. There's some other D tackles and um, edges if you want to go there, but I kind of had them pinned as a D tackle.
yeah,
What are your thoughts, Mike?
yeah. I think D tackle is the direction that they should go in. Caden McDonald is a very old school, like stop the run nose tackle kind of player.
Hmm, hmm.
Super strong, clogs lanes like you wouldn't believe. Um, Peter Woods is a much more modern defensive tackle. He's got much more three tech to him than anything else. He can kind of be an interior rusher with some run stopping ability. I think Peter Woods
Hmm.
is probably the better all around prospect than Caden McDonald is, but as like a specialty, like he's great at one thing and that's what you're drafting him for. I think Caden McDonald is that kind of guy. So it really depends on what the Bears want out of that position, right? Do they want somebody who is just a bona fide run stopping nose tackle, or do they want somebody that can provide them a little bit more in the in the pass rushing game? Like, do they do they want somebody with a little bit more versatility like Peter Woods? Um, so it all depends on what they want. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean,
Well,
do you think the Bears need to prioritize stopping the run, or do you think that they could use more of a like versatile defensive tackle?
yeah, man, it's hard because I liked Peter Woods when I was watching him too. He's a different D tackle, as you mentioned, legitimate freak of nature. I was
Yeah,
reading
he's
on
a great
him a
athlete.
little bit because I was like, man, he's got something to him. Runs a 4.8 40, benches 500, damn near 500 pounds, squats 700 pounds, 33-inch vertical. And that's all with him being over 300 pounds. Dude is insane as far as athletic ability. He's got a mean first step that instantly puts offensive linemen at a disadvantage. I said possesses sideline to sideline quickness for how big he actually is. Strong striking hands that are felt. Has a high motor, can play in multiple gaps. When it comes to his limitations, it's inconsistency, lack of pass rush moves, lack of an anchor against double teams. So that's the clear, distinct difference between these two. You want the guy that can take on double teams and not get moved at all, not move an inch, get super, super solid run defender. You're going to get him in the building. He's going to be exactly that. Or this guy that has all the traits to be very strong, to get that push, to hold up against double teams, but right now isn't that, but gives you more pass rush, gives you more upside overall. That's the comparison between those two.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say Caden McDonald is probably more of what would fit what they want. Um, so I would say if I'm the Bears here, I think Peter Woods is the better player, but I think Caden McDonald fits more of what they are looking for.
Let's lock it in then. All right. The Bills is another team that is like shooting themselves in the foot right now. Like, how did none of these wide receivers make it to us? Because they severely need wide receiver help. And
Yeah, they do.
just like, hey, for the people, I haven't done a lot of draft stuff this year, but for the people that know, I was one of the people that said Keon Coleman would not take him in the first round, probably wouldn't even take him in the second round, and he's been a disappointment for them. Um, Now they did trade for more from the Bears, so that
Yep.
helps him a little bit. Um, and we'll see. I don't necessarily think that DJ Moore is quite the same player as he was whenever he was with the Panthers or early on in that Bears career, but interesting. They also need edge help. This is that kind of that grouping of the edges that really probably need to go. I'm kind of almost thinking a Zion Young right here would be a solid pick for them.
Mhm.
Safety, I don't know that I would reach for that other safety there. Linebacker, and I mean, probably too high for Rodriguez. Guard, is there a guard that's worth going here? What are you thinking for
Chase
the Bills here, Mike?
Bisontis is somebody that you could probably take here, but I think uh, I'd probably take an edge rusher here. I would go with the TJ Parker, Cassius Howell, Zion Young group of edge rushers. Now, I think TJ Parker is the best out of those players, just as far as like a holding the defensive line down sort of perspective. And it upside. I mean, like TJ Parker, you got to
Okay.
remember early on in the draft process was like he was supposed to be what David Bailey is. Like he's, you know, top tier, high upside, all the tools. Like that's what TJ Parker was supposed to
Yeah.
be. Then he had a bad year. Like he had a bad year at Clemson. So I think TJ Parker still
Yeah.
has a little bit of something. They have a history, by the way, of doing that, right? Where they did the same thing with Greg Rousseau, who had a bad year at Miami the year
Yep.
before they
Yep.
drafted him. He's turned out to be a fairly good player for them. They might want to do something like that again. So I would take an edge rusher here. I think TJ Parker is probably the best fit as far as I'm concerned for Buffalo.
Okay. This is a guy I have not watched, full disclaimer on my behalf, but I'm trusting my guy Mike Guido here. We're finding this guy. Oh crap. This is why I need to get a new mouse, man. TJ Parker. Right here, 43. We're locking him in. San Francisco 49ers, another team
Offensive
that
line.
probably could have used wide receiver help as well. And yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. But offensive line, Blake Miller's here. It seems like it would be a fairly good pick. I had Blake Miller going to the Eagles earlier, but then we actually went with who did we go with there? Um, Lamu, Lomu. So are we going offensive tackle here? Kind of. I mean, there's no wide receiver we'd take here, right?
No, 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 I don't think so. I mean, like Denzel Boston, you could maybe warrant a late first round pick. Um, I think Blake
Mhm.
Miller is the clear guy here. I mean, he's the best offensive tackle left. He's safest. Max Ihanachour is like the super high upside project raw kind of talent. Um, like that Max Ihanachour
Okay.
could be like the offensive tackle of this draft if he's like coached the right way. But I think Blake Miller is the safer pick. I
Okay,
think
so
he's
he's
the
that
guy
kid
that
that came out of sorry, I was gonna say this Max kid is like that kid that came out of BYU a couple years ago that the Chiefs took, basically upside wise.
right, right.
Okay, let's go with Blake Miller here. Um, Texans just gave Will Anderson that massive contract. Um, I mean, he's a hell of a player. But they need offensive help. That defense is super stellar, and I know that they have defensive tackle up here. Linebacker is needs, but is there an interior offensive player on the line that's good enough to go here, or are they just simply saying, "Look, Peter Woods is too good to pass up. He's got all the intangibles to mix right in with our group and make our defense even better."
Yeah. I think Chase Basantis out of Texas A&M could fit the need here late in the first round. Um, he could absolutely go this high. I mean, if they really wanted to just like go nuts and say we have an incredible defensive line and throw another ridiculous athlete in there, I mean, they could just throw Peter Woods right in the middle of that defensive line and just drive everybody nuts. Um, and this is really the thing too, like with the Texans. The Texans have a really good roster top to bottom. Like they really do have a good roster. Um, I would love to see
Yeah,
them
yeah.
either again, like you said, just sort of beef up on either the interior of their offensive line or the interior of their defensive line. So Basantis is probably the guy I would take on the offensive side. Peter Woods is who I would take on the defensive side.
Yeah, I think that realistically, we're gonna go with the offensive guard because that offense needs so much more help. And sometimes you reach for a player and it's like, did we settle for this guy? And then it turns out to be like a Zach Martin-esque player where it's like, no, we actually should have drafted this guy higher. Like he should have went higher. You know what I mean? Not
Mhm.
saying that Chase is that, but I'm just simply saying that sometimes luck doesn't favor the bold and it favors the comfortable, right? Right. Um, Looking in with the Chiefs in their second pick of this draft, who did they take with their first one again?
Tremont McCoy.
Let me see. McCoy, that's right. Yes.
So
This
they
thing's so slow.
they could really use a
Oh
they
my
could use an
goodness,
edge
dude.
rusher. What?
It's glitching on me. Keep going.
And this delay is not helping us either. There's at least like a 5-second delay between us talking. It's so
No,
crazy.
it's not, it's not. Yeah, there yep, yep. I'm trying to
Um,
time it just right, so it feels like there's not a delay, but
right. I know. I'm doing the same thing, and I just can't like get it right. Um, um, but yeah, I
yeah.
think Kansas City is in such a position where like either offensive tackle or edge rusher is where they really need to look. If they want to go again with another project offensive lineman, I mean, I think Max Ihonachor certainly fits that mold. Somebody like Zion Young, somebody like Cassius Howell um, would fit as an edge rush piece. So whatever, again, whatever they think their bigger need
Mhm,
um, is what I would go with. I mean, Ihonachor is such a special, like, athlete, like, gifted beast sort of guy that, like, he could be so good, but he's so raw. He is so, like, not polished, not ready, but the upside is insane. So they could go somewhere like that, or they could take an edge
mhm.
rusher and hope they spark something. So,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna defer with one of these edge rushers, sorry, one of these edge rushers. I would probably say Zion,
mhm.
simply because I think Howell is more of that tweener guy, not very big. He kinda lacks that ideal size. But he's very violent, consistent pursuit of the quarterback, quick first step, wicked inside spin that gives tackles fits, plays with a nice IQ and play recognition, keeps him in ideal position. But I said where he gets in trouble is because of that size. He cannot let tackles into his chest or he's dead. Is kind of what I wrote. So for
Mhm.
that reason, I'm gonna actually go with Zion Young, simply
Yeah.
based on his athleticism, his I his bend overall, his, where did I have this other note? Sorry. Um, chip, I just said his length and his athleticism, that of a first rounder that teams are gonna basically, take a shot on, and I think the Chiefs at the back end of the first, where they're typically drafting, they're going to, and they've got a good scouting department, they really do. They're gonna do their homework on which of these edges are probably gonna be there, and they're gonna go with, a guy that they feel like more prototypical, can play the run a little bit better, and has the ability to truly, be that diverse, pass rusher the more that he gets those tools, in his
Mhm.
arsenal, so.
Right.
And the Dolphins here with their second pick of the draft as well. Wide receiver, cornerback, guard, tackle, edge, same old, same old. Seems like every single team. Now, is this kind of where the Dolphins go with an offensive tackle, or I they picked Lemon earlier is what we had them, so they don't need a wide receiver. I don't think that Boston is going first round. Um, Is this kind of where your max guy goes? You said he's really raw. I
Could
didn't watch him, so
yeah, he could. I also think they could really dip into this corner pool here. Somebody like Colton Hood, Avion Terrell,
okay.
Chris Johnson, Brandon Cisse. Like I think they could definitely fit one of those guys in. I think Colton Hood is the best available corner. So I would say Colton
Okay.
Hood is somebody that they could look to right here.
Bang. Let's lock her in. Colton Hood to the Miami Dolphins. Um, right here, an impressive season. I don't think that anybody saw Vrabel doing what he did with the Patriots organization that quickly, but it helps when May played absolutely dominant quarterback play. His deep ball was a thing of beauty. I'm so glad that I took the chance and stuck my neck out on our Dynasty League, Mike, and said, "No, I'm gonna draft Drake May as my QB1." Eventually, I made a trade that got me Lamar, but that made me look really smart. And so, wide receiver though, still a problem for this team, and they desperately need one. Um, do they take Boston and send him to Boston esque? Obviously not,
That's the fun stuff,
but
right? I mean,
um,
they
that'd
could.
be a
I mean,
fun one.
they need
Yeah.
a receiver bad. Like they really need it. They're two real areas of need: a receiver and edge. Like they really need an edge rusher too. Um, uh, Denzel Boston is probably the best bet here, but because like the you're almost out
Okay.
of edge rushers at this point, like that are worthy of first round picks. Like Cassius Howell is your closest bet, and then after that, like Malachi Lawrence out of UCF is somebody that you could go for. I know a lot of people like R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. Um, so we'll see if that turns into something. Um, even I'm not even ruling out offensive line for the Patriots. I'm really not. Like I could see them going with Max Ihonich,
Mhm.
or I could see them going with somebody like Keelan Rutledge. Like I don't know. Um, but if it were me, I would say
Where
Denzel
okay,
Boston.
you're that's what I was about to say is, do you just take it for the namesake of it just fits too well, you know what I mean, kind of a thing? Or, um, who was the forget about it. I've already, uh I actually did remember that cornerback I was mentioning. It was Caleb Farley, if you remember him,
Oh
that
yeah,
Tennessee
wow.
took a few years back. He had the injury issues coming out of college, whatnot. So, I did remember that on the fly, and I was like, "Ah, man," but I didn't have a good place to mention it. Anyways, Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks. This is now, disclaimer, we haven't done any trades, and we're not gonna do any trades a anymore now that we haven't done any, but this is a spot where if Miami does pass on Ty, Simpson, this is a spot where another team could get up, get in the back end of the first round to get that fifth year option and that control
Mhm.
over Ty Simpson. Um, be really interesting. But what do you see the Seahawks actually doing?
Yeah, and by the way, I fully
Is
expect
it? I mean, this could be a
Seattle
spot
to.
for. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just fully expect Seattle to trade out just because Seattle's got 4 picks this year. They definitely want to accumulate a little bit more.
Hmm.
So I kind of expect Ty Simpson to be the 32nd pick of this draft, but um in this case, like obviously the Seahawks are not doing anything with a quarterback, but um like I've heard so many times that like Jadarian Price is going to go here, and I just can't wrap my head around that. He's not nearly a first round player. Um, but I think they could take a corner here. I mean, they just lost Tariq Woolen. Like it makes so much sense for them to go after a corner. Um, so somebody like Brandon Cisse, somebody like Chris Johnson. I know like Chris Johnson is getting a lot of like first round buzz. Um, Avion Terrell is also somebody I would look at as like a high upside player. He's AJ Terrell's younger brother. Um, so I would say like if I'm picking a position for Seattle,
Okay.
I think corner is probably their spot right now.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. That's why I brought that up. Is the quarterback needy team coming up, getting that fifth year option is it's
Mhm.
just almost a no brainer. You mentioned Seattle having the four picks, just makes way too much sense. So we can go with Brandon Sissy Say. Uh, I still said it wrong, I think. Anyways, or we can go with the other corner that you mentioned, um, Avion Terrell. Um, I'm feeling like a corner. You're right on the money in regards to that. So, Cisse, did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank
Cisse.
you.
Yeah, it's Cisse.
Cisse or uh, Cisse, Sissy Cisse. If we go with him or we go with Avion Terrell, what would be the comparison of those two? I didn't watch either, so I'm deferring to you. What's the difference between those two guys, and where would you lean?
Avion Terrell is a little bit more like thin and lanky. Like he's a um like sort of a safety style corner. Like he's kind of like a ball getter. Brandon Cisse is a bit more
Okay,
um physical, right? Like he's like a big kind of like press man kind of player. Um, so it really just depends on scheme
okay,
fit. They're both plenty good athletes. Avion Terrell ran a 4.39, but he's undersized, right? Like he's 5'11, 186. Brandon Cisse is 6 foot, 189. He's a
oh yeah,
tad
not
tiny
gonna
bit
work.
bit like they're right about the same
Brandon Cisse.
size. So yeah.
Who has longer arms? I need to know that if it's a Seattle corner.
Let me double check. Wingspan, let me see. Arm length 75 and a half for Terrell, and Cisse is 75 and 3/4. So slightly Cisse has him by like a little bit. A very, very short,
Hardly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, we're rounding it out with Cisse. I called him Sissy. It's just got it. We have to put him in there. Um, why is it only giving me a draft grade for the Ravens? I'm not entirely sure why that is. Let's bring back this view for us. That went a lot longer than I thought it would have
Yeah,
went. But it was fun, man.
yeah.
Always fun, always a pleasure getting on with Mike and just chopping it up, talking. If I wasn't out of town, I would absolutely, and I might still be able to. Hopefully, we can get this done, and I can get back into town Thursday night. So maybe I could have some time where I'm chopping it up if you guys are doing the draft show stuff and get on and just talk and chill. It's fun. Like I told my wife, I was like, there's, like, a certain, like, excitement back to it because I don't feel like I necessarily know better than other people with this draft, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
hearing other people's thoughts and just letting the Cowboys pick who they pick and me just being like, "Okay, I gotta trust these guys," you know what I mean? Like I did as a kid.
Yeah, right.
It kinda brings some excitement back in that respect, so, um, it's fun. I really do, love talking football with Mike. It's always fun. We mesh really well, and we just chop it up good. And for anybody that's still here, if there is, I mean, 2.5 hours basically going, just two white dudes chopping it up, man. It's fun, but I thought it was informative at least for me to do a lot of homework in like
Yeah,
4 days time. I did this over 4 days.
yeah.
Um, and I watched a lot of people, and it's sometimes it's like, oh man, you're listening to so many sources that you're like, okay, how do I take those away and then just watch it? Because usually I'm starting to watch before any of the other people are really spewing their information out. So I already have my opinions and thoughts over these players. So it was kind of interesting this year
Mhm.
doing that, but a lot of fun. Mike, can't thank you enough for getting on and reaching out to me to do this. And if I can make it back in town, I will absolutely get on
Let's
to
make
talk
it
some
happen,
ball
buddy.
with the draft. Hopefully, you guys are going to be doing that with the Grid draft show. But shout yourself out really quick. Let the people know where they can find you. And then we're
Yeah.
getting out of here, son.
Yeah, at Mike Guido 49, as it says on the screen for the draft show, but at Mike Guido 49, those are my social media handles on pretty much every platform, exclusively on the Grid Network. I do a baseball show on Mondays. I do a radio style program, me and Josh Tariff on Thursdays. So you can catch us there, and you'll catch me here with E every once in a while.
Absolutely. If you guys don't already follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Boys in the Zone, that's just the letter N. It's not IN. You can catch it right there on the screen. I made it very easy for you guys. I talk Cowboys football. There was some questionable tweets about my Kansas Jayhawks, just completely pissing me off as well. You'll catch a little bit of that on my Twitter, but mostly it's Cowboys content. Um, I'm excited for the NBA playoffs to start up as well, so I'll be watching some of that. Maybe I can get on the Gryd shows
There you
with some of
go.
these other boys and talk some other sports. I always like doing that, but I guess guys, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and actually having comments and people in here talking with us and giving us advice and stuff like that. It makes it really fun for Mike and I when we do this stuff. So really can't thank you. Leave a like, leave a comment if you like the stuff, and if you continue to like sports. Sometimes it gets hard on some people. I know. No, I'm a Cowboys fan. Not
Yeah,
seeing any NFC championship games, not seeing no Super Bowls. It can get draining on you. But if you still like sports, check out the Grid Network. We got a lot of great shows, a lot of different guys doing different things. Baseball, all sports. Bryson, Barry Grant, whether it's UFC, whether it's strictly like Boston sports, like we've got everything over there. Just go check
yeah.
us out, please do. And with that being said, thank you. Peace.